Alright. It's Friday, my beans. Let's paint some minis. Can we first off get a hi? Yeah! How are we all doing? Hello. Ah, the camera's at a weird angle. Hello, everybody. How are we doing? Sorry for the long start screen. I was making a cup of tea and did the classic thing of, when you put the kettle on and then you walk out the room and you go, I didn't actually put the kettle on. That was the problem. How are we all doing? I hope you're doing good. Shrimp getting on in the first, followed by Frogs. How are we doing? Marco as well. Hello to you. I hope you are well. And Sith Rudy, how are you? I hope you're doing good. Welcome one, welcome all. How are we all doing today? I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all having a good day. I'll be honest with you. I'm having a bad day. I was having a good day, and then I just had, when you have a really, bad end to the day, of my work day, I was just a bit quite annoyed about stuff, and yeah, it was one of those days. So but I'm here, I'm ready to paint minis and ready to chill and relax. I have a vanilla latte Oreo and I'm gonna eat that. That's what I'm gonna do. But what are you all getting up to today? I hope you're doing good. Ow. But yeah, I hope everyone's doing well. I hope we're all doing good. Shrimp is procrastinating going to the shops. That's fair. That's fair. I mean, is it a fun shop or is it a boring shop? Is it I've got to go get milk. So it's a bit I had a lazy day off. I've been 3D printing. Oh hell yeah! What have you been printing up? What have you been working on? Ah, no! Ah. I dropped my biscuit. It landed right here. But I managed to catch it just about. Luckily my day is better than the start of my week was. Monday was no bueno. Oh, I'm sorry you've had a no bueno day for Monday. I'm sending hugs. I'm sending hugs for you, Sith. I hope it wasn't anything too serious. I hope you're all good now. I went up to my mini factory and spent £70 on various models and busts. It is a dangerous thing, isn't it? When you keep adding it to your basket and you go, oh no. Oh no. But hey, that's the price of a few Space Marines. That's true. That is a fair way of looking at it. Yeah. I feel like I tend to look at it more of a... I count them as two very different hobbies in my brain. Which is just sometimes the way it goes. But I'm also sometimes I forget how much value you can get when buying STL files. And likewise the other way, when some people price them really aggressively high, you're kind of a bit not sure on that one. Especially I've seen STL files before for don't get me wrong, beautiful sculpts that were sort of about the size of Bellicor or an Imperial Knight, a really beautiful sculpt. But they're charging £100 for the STL file, and sometimes I look at it and I'm I'm just not the target audience for that. Because I'm going to have to spend money on resin and time to print it and sort of things like that. Whereas I'd happily go and get a £100 model or a kit or a box of kits to sit and build. It's a weird thing the way my brain goes, if that makes sense. But everybody's different in it. Everyone's different. Verity, enjoy your bean. How are you doing? I hope you're doing good. I think my stream is delayed. Oh no, Shrimp, what happened? I just got a free Mammoth Factory Tribe, and I want to try a fairy D&D character. Ooh, nice. Hells to the yes. Well, we are going to work on finishing off these wings right here on Gelgus Pustos. And so anyone who was here on Wednesday's stream... Oh, I forgot my camera's already small. Hold on. I changed all my camera layout around. Because on Wednesday I shrunk it down while we were watching the Adepticon preview. Hey, there we go. I'm back to a reasonable size. And at the same time, we were also working on this sculpt. So we did a little bit more work on Gelgust, and we actually did a whole lot of work on the wings. We did not only the wings, we also got the base colours down on the base as well. So loads of stuff we made progress on Wednesday. And of course, Wednesday was doubly eventful because we stayed up late and we did the watch along event for Adepticon, which was really good actually. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad I stayed up. There was a lot of technical difficulties on their end, but you know what? They powered through. Fair play to them. Fair play. But it was some good reveals. So we're going to chat about those later as well. Chat about the reveals. Hey, Shiny, how are you doing? I hope you're doing good. I would much rather buy a physical mini for 100. Yeah, I think that's kind of it. But I think it's still that, like, shift, isn't it? Because there's, like, very much... I think there's two types of 3D printers. There's people who enjoy 3D printing and see it as, like, hey, I'm going to put something, I'm going to print it, that's going to be kind of cool. There's not really worried, you know, they know their kind of budget. They understand that there's, like, a material cost to it. And there's other people who are very much like, I want to print, you know, really, really tight, really sort of like... basically, they value the STLs the same as they would a physical mini, but the build part is just... The print part is the build part of the hobby, if that makes sense. And I feel neither of those are incorrect. They're just very different ways of thinking. The wings look stunning. Oh, thank you, Verity. Aw, and thank you, Marco. And Sith as well. Everyone's been so kind today. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, bless your hearts. You lot, oh my. Yeah. I'm wondering if all the old gear means that we'll be getting updated Intercessor Sprue. I wouldn't surprise me. I can imagine it would be similar to the Bloodclaw Sprue from for Space Wolves. Because they're kind of like a little bit of everything, aren't they? They're a little bit of a hodgepodge. I also like the lore that they've done behind this of the... So sorry, should we get in and chat about the Adepticon stuff? I feel like that's where we're starting off today, aren't we? I feel like it feels like a good start point. But, yeah, so effectively they revealed the first look at... if we pull this up. At the new edition of Warhammer 40,000. That was a big thing. And there's a new style of Intercessor Marine that's going to be in the start box, which we can see right here. Like, oh. And Shakeham's just trying to break in for more compliments. Okay, give me a second. His area is not clear. Let me grab him. Let me grab the boy. Hello, little man. Da da da. Nya 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 nya. Oh, there you go, buddy. You left your paw. Lift your paw. Good boy. Oh. Yeah, so this is they say the new type of Intercessor. This is still a Primaris Intercessor. I believe they're still calling it Intercessor. But effectively, these are they described it in the show, which is quite an interesting way. They basically said there's been a war of attrition. Well, it's a war of attrition. Basically, they have gone, right, okay, all of the Mark X power armor suits are kind of like, there was only so many of them made. But you know what we do have? Millions of power armor suits from various ones. So let's start hodgepodging. And if someone busts a shoulder pad or breaks their helmet, they're just going to get a different mark on the helmet. Because that's in stores, that's easy to send out. They're stretched so thin. Hello, Milkshake. Oh, I forgot your camera's very small. Let me get your camera sorted. Hello. There he is. And that's basically what I think is happened here. Well, that's basically what they've said has happened, and I think that's a really interesting perspective on the war, isn't it? Like after the Indomitus Crusade and the Tyrannic War starting off again. Milkshake, what are you doing? He's just bapping me. And the fourth or fifth Tyrannic War, whichever it was, I feel like we forget that the Imperium is really stretched at the moment. But in Indomitus, when the Primaris Marines came in, they were like, boom, we're marching forward. Milkshake. No. You don't go across there. Milkshake has just yeeted Gelgus Pust across the desk. No. You might mess around on mommy's streams, but you don't mess around on my streams. He's trying to get to that window. The window that he never went on when his bed was over there. He always went onto that window. So he's like, I want to go over there because I can't go over there now. Like, damn you, Shakons. But I do like these. This kind of hodgepodge thing. I mean, it kind of reminds me of what I did with my Blood Angels, to be fair. When I got the my Blood Angels out, when I started working on them, I literally did the same thing. I loved these helmets, so I'm really glad that these are going to be like, able to be used again. I was very happy because this is a Phobos Marine painted years ago. This is when this box came out. This was the Shadow Spear box. So I very much enjoyed the fact that I could start, hodgepodging on and different armor, shoulder pads, various parts, different helmets. So yeah. So I'm all for this kind of hodgepodge style. For me, I'm very all about it. And then of course we got a new orc. Big old orc boy, big old orc. Which orcs are enough orc players. I never realised that the orcs could either take choppers or shooters. I didn't realise they weren't like Marines, where Marines get like a close combat weapon and like a bolt gun. Orcs apparently could only take one or the other, which is wild. Now they can take both, which I think is good. But yes, so loads of stuff going on here. Orcs are Warhammer's version of Football Hooligan. I like that. Just orcs are the ones where if somebody in the orc if a grot drops a plate of food or drops a glass in a pub or in the food halls of the orcs, all of the orcs go, "Way!" That's very much it. Yeah, that's it. That's very much it. I've surprisingly seen people complain about the orcs. Wait, what have they complained about the orcs? I've not seen any. I have seen many complaints, and as I do what I always do when I see those, I don't pay any attention. I'm like, hey, that's your critique? That's fine. It's when people just like, the amount of things I've seen where people talk, I've gone, oh great, they're just more generic Marines. I'm like, okay, would you prefer sculpted on Blood Angel affects for this box? Like, which would you prefer? Which would you prefer on this one? And they then don't respond or call you very unsavory names. I'm like, yes, it is. It is generic Marines because this box means that any Marine player can paint them whatever color they want. And align them to each faction. So always a wild one. But there's a lot of stuff coming for this. This whole section down here, we talked about it a lot during the reveal. They're really changing up the rules. Really changing up the rules. Which makes me very excited. Very, very excited. I feel like 11th edition sounds like it's going kind of a bit more back to narrative, which makes me very happy. Very, very happy bean. That they look too human and not green enough. I feel like my brain then is not comprehending that. They're not green enough. Oh no. Right. I guess you'll just have to paint yours slightly greener. They look too human. What about that is human? Is my question here. It is a humanoid fungal creature. Like, their head is gigantic. Their head is also not on the top of the body. The head is also, like, here. Like, I'm so confused. I'm so confused with people. Like, wow, that's wild. You're in a dark part of the internet, Shrimp. Yeah, Frog said, they're orcs. They're good no matter what. That is fair. That is fair. Orcs. Yeah. Oh no, I feel like where's the one that they revealed a little while ago? Because where is it? There was this guy. I'm pretty sure that's not human. The darkest Facebook. The deep dark depths of Facebook. Dun dun dun. That's very cool though. I am enjoying. I'm very much enjoying this though. It does look very, very cool. This guy here looks amazing. I feel like I've seen a lot of people just be like, even if I'm not a fan of orcs, I want to pick up this guy. It's so good. I think it's wild, isn't it? The amount of detail they've crammed onto this. It is bonkers. Very, very much so. I can't get over the blast effect, right? The blast looks fantastic. It's just like, oh, I love it. I love it. Also, like, I feel like this is going to be a lot taller than you think because of the kick off, the fact it's shooting off the rocks, like, pew. That's so cool. This is such a great sculpt. It's such a great sculpt. I like the fact you can choose to build it without the blast if you don't want the blast at the back, which means that is its own separate piece or pieces, which means that can be used on other kits. That's the base we needed for the Land Raider. Can we borrow it? Yeah. 1 second. Need to borrow this a minute. It's like, wait a second. Oh. But, you know, I am loving this, though. I think it is very cool. And the fact that the blast comes separate is very intriguing. I'm like, okay. Because that can be used as like a shockwave of like something landing against the model or something, which would be very cool. I'm a kit bash it onto a jump pack into. I feel it's going to be massive, isn't it? It's just going to be ginormous. Oh, excuse me. Oh. Tell it, it's been a long day. I'm yawning away. My apologies. Yeah, big yawns. I'm just like, jump. It can be used as a weird boy vomit. Yes, Battle Squig. Yes. Of course, yeah, we saw that in the trailer, didn't we? The weird boy just like all over the. I love the way that the Marine that got absolutely annihilated was an Ultramarine in that video. I think it was an Ultramarine. Where's the clip gone? Is it the original trailer? Is it this? I don't know if the sound's gonna come through. This might come through very loud.
Armageddon, the war world. Its soil is worthless, salted by the blood and sweat of generations. War is all that remains. It rises from the dust and echoes in the sky, a promise, a cacophony of endings. Sanguinius' sons, angels of death. We belong here. Our veins burn with his wrath. Our twin hearts hammer with his rage. War is all that we know.
Use this being murdering the Ultramarine.
This world must hold. There can be no retreat. There can be no mercy. There can be no peace. There is only war.
Dun 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 dun. Bum 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 bum. And June 26th, so it's coming out in June, which is going to be interesting. I'm hoping you guys heard the audio there. No, it wasn't just me sat watching the video like, yeah. Only war, but still a lack of hammers. That was true. I didn't see a single hammer in this entire video. Wait a second. Wait a second. Like, where are my hammers? I mean, I'm hyped because Blood Angels. You know me, I love my Blood Angels, so I'm hyped that we're getting some more. But, yeah, I'm kind of like... definitely intrigued to see what else we're going to get kind of in the box for it. I love all the nods on this artwork to throw back to like the previous edition we were at. I think it was the Blood Angels in the starter set. Love the little throwbacks on this, which is very cool. Keep seeing these Thunderhawks in the background. Is that a hint? Are we getting a plastic Thunderhawk? That'd be very cool. So yeah, very, very cool. And yeah, we know it's a little sneaky peek of these guys. I feel like it's going to be an interesting start set because where are we at? What's the word for this one? Where am I at? Where am I at? I don't think it's I'm going to be intrigued to know what's in the starter set about whether or not I'll be purchasing the starter set. Because I feel like I have a lot of Blood Angels, and I don't know if I'm going to do much with Orcs. So it might be the first starter set that on release I don't actually pick up. Which would be wild if I don't. But not for... it's going to depend what's in it. That's going to be the big part of it. For it, so... I'm very intrigued to be like, is it going to be something I'll grab or not? I guess I would say it's a launch box rather... Yeah, that's a fair shout. It's a launch box rather than a start set. That's a fair point. Like, very, very point. Yeah, but yeah, I reckon there'll be like 3 sizes, as although they've been very successful with, what is it, the recruit, the 3 versions, haven't they? The small box, the medium box, and the big box. And then this might be a launch box similar to like Indomitus or Leviathan. If it's just, I reckon they'll do like the limited edition. This is the first box, and then they'll go right now. Here are your 3 start sets. So it will depend what's in it. But I have to suppose, I think for the first time in a long time, I'm being considerate about the fact that I've still not built all of the Marines from Leviathan. I still have all of the Marines from Indomitus. Like, still on sprue. I built the Necrons, and I built the Tyranids. So, just because I was like, oh, I'll get to my Marines when I can. So I have to kind of bear that in mind, I suppose, about whether or not I'll dive headfirst into this. Gonna be interesting. I only built 1 mini from Leviathan. What was the mini you built? I'm curious to know which one you went with. I liked all of the sculpts in there. I think I just got waylaid with other projects. Very hyped though. In terms of, I might not sound it, but I'm hyped about going back to Armageddon. I think it's a fantastic point in the lore. And there's a lot going on there. And I like this kind of idea that, because what they sort of said in the video was they were talking about how basically Gulliman and the Lion have basically made a mini crusade of a lot of different chapters. So they've basically sent some of the Blood Angels, they've sent some Dark Angels, they've sent some Ultramarines, they've sent a few other factions just to go and reinforce Armageddon. So they've not pulled like a whole chapter, they've sent chapters. Which I think is very cool. So I'm like, ooh, I like that. So it kind of gives you the idea of how big the war is. Oh, the Psychophage is such a great sculpt. Yeah. Psychophage! Psychophage. It's such a cool sculpt. Psychophage. Arg. Milkshake, no. Milkshake is like, I'm going on an adventure. How about now? He's like, Father. Then I got bored. Oh no! That's when that happens though, doesn't it? I fully painted every... No, actually that's not true. I can run them as a fully painted army. This is going to sound really weird for my Tyranids, but I don't count them as fully painted. because I still need a little bit of work on some of the termagants and the rippers. No, the termagants are done. It's the barb gaunts. The barb gaunts and the rippers I never quite finished. They are painted and they are on textured bases, but they're not finished to the same standards as the rest of the force. Is where I'm at with it. So I'm like, but yes, so and speaking of Armageddon, there was a lot to talk about Armageddon-wise. So of course you've got Wazdaka Gutsmech. My name's Wazdaka Gutsmech, and this here is Pimp My Ride. I love the fact that he's got this like awesome bike, which just looks fantastic. It looks stunning, really, really nice. And then of course Yarrick, we've already seen about Yarrick being announced. Big old Commissar Yarrick right here. Milkshake, what are you doing? No. Boop. I'm a big fan of that. It's interesting that Yarrick's back. And apparently in the Armageddon book that they announced, which we'll show in a second, they talk about how Yarrick survived. And apparently it had something to do with the Space Wolves. So, you just swap me. Hello. What are you doing? Are you waiting on a treat? Is that what you're waiting on? You begging for a little treat? Milkshake's just like, yeah. Oi, human. Where's my food? Where's my food at? I assume you've had your meds. I assume he has. Or did you want to come straight in here? So yeah, of course we've got Yarrick, and this was fantastic. I thought the whole Commissar Graves, one of those a new Commissar, and she comes on this giant battle tank, which is giving me very Judge Dredd vibes. I don't know if anyone else is picking this up, like kind of the eagle at the front, kind of reminds me of all the vehicles and stuff in the Stallone Judge Dredd film. And I'm like, you know what, I'm loving this. It kind of looks like she could be leading a force of Arbites as well. Which I'm like, ooh. Milkshake, no! No. Stop it. What have you done to your paw? The heart track looks great. Yes, I like the heart tracks on these. The reminds me of the Taurox a little bit, which obviously is something similar to we've got further down. But I like this, that this looks almost like... I feel like this is one step away from like a Mad Max vehicle. It does look very cool. And I think she looks great. I love the unit that comes with her, a big old banner as well. And the fact that in the box you also get her on foot. So you can have her on top of the vehicle, or you can have her on foot. Which I think is a really good choice. It kind of reminds me of like the Canis Rex boxes, where you can build the Knight Canis Rex with the pilot separate. This is a similar sort of vein. And I think she's stunning. Obviously, that Power Fist, we've seen that Power Fist with a Reba. Oh, yeah, a Reba engine. Apologies for the on. So, yeah, I'm quite hyped for that. I think this looks great. This looks fantastic. Yeah, I'm just like, yep, this looks fantastic. Yep. That's all I can keep saying is yep. Yep. It just looks awesome. This, however, probably is one of the more interesting reveals that I thought they've announced. So this is the Inquisitor Croyle, who is a member of the Ordo Xenos. And I'm very intrigued with where they're going with this. I'm like, okay. I'm very intrigued by this. I'm like, also, anyone else getting So, the guy from Borderlands 2, what's it, Sir Hammerlock? Hello. Are you being a little goblin? You know. Stop trying to come onto the desk. Just because you figured it out doesn't mean you get to come over to the desk all the time now. No. Milkshake's here like, I'll sass you. I think it came with the helmeted and unhelmeted options as well, and also the mount also is helmeted and unhelmeted. I'm so intrigued by the stat line on this, and I'm hoping then this makes me wonder if there's more... Now there's more models for Auto Xenos, even though it's only just the one character. I'm kind of hoping that we are going to get... Milkshake, stop it. I'm kind of hoping that we are going to get amended rules for the Imperial agents. Because I feel like I like the idea of running a different style of force, and Auto Xenos sounds kind of fun. Yeah, Bubba. Stop it. Stop being a... Why are you being a little terror? And then we have another... there was an interesting tidbit in the video when they were talking about this, about Intraza Frey. And they were basically saying that she's on one of the thrones that exist in the Imperium. And they were very specific. There's about 3 or 4 thrones outside of the... obviously the Golden Throne that's known on Terra. And there's the one that Inquisitor... Is it Kamarazov uses. And now the Adeptus Sororitas have one of the thrones, which is the Throne of Blame, I think it was. So I'm intrigued to know, are we going to get more throne-based models? And is there any significance to these different thrones? Like, interesting tidbit of something else that we could see at another point. I'm like, okay. Hello, Shakeums. You being a right little terror today. It's a very cool model, isn't it? It's very funky. It's like, wah. That's me going, it's like wah. Wait, it's not wah, because it's not orcs. But it's kind of cool, this whole like kind of Walker style, like just sat on the throne. Very much is giving me sort of like I reckon there's it's gonna have a cool invulnerable save, a rule or something. Yeah, painting that scroll will be something, right? That scroll is very intense. It's like, whoa. Why is this a medieval version of Cotton Eye Joe playing? I was like, what is that? I was like, what is this song in the background? Hello, Milkshake. No, stop trying to come onto the desk, buddy. No. He looks so sad. He looks so dejected. He's like, I want to come up on the desk. I'm like, no. Because he jumped onto the desk and he slammed full of his body weight into Gelgust. So it's like, no, Shakeums. Oh. Okay, he's settled down now. He's settled down, bless him. There he is. He's just there like, fine, guess I'll chill over here. And then more half-track vehicles. So the Centaur RSV, which is very clearly like a not as heavily armoured version of the one that Inquisitor Graves is going to be on. And they said this is one of their kind of scout tanks. So scout tank transport, which I think is very cool. Very cool vehicle. Very, it's going to sound a bit odd. It's a great looking vehicle, but I feel if I saw this, I would do a double take about whether or not I thought it was like 40k. I feel like I'm so used to seeing like hover tanks and tanks with so many, like guns and everything on it, so they look almost like it's super high sci-fi. This feels like this is the sort of thing that wouldn't be too dissimilar to kind of like Modern Warfare or something maybe even older. But I feel like it definitely stands out on the tabletop of like, oh yeah, the Guard get stuff, but it may not be the high sophisticated tech. Yeah, it looks maybe a bit too much like a World War II German half-track. Yeah, I feel like, we can definitely tell where the inspirations have come for this. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think it's a beautiful sculpt, but I feel like it's just, does it fit in the 40k universe? It feels like it wouldn't be out of place on like Necromunda or something, which is kind of interesting. For it, and I kind of suppose that kind of ties in with the next one as well, very similar to the new Hippogriff AFV. So though this feels a little bit more kind of like okay, maybe a little bit more, but still very kind of generically tanky versus like we've seen like the Rogel Dawn and the Lehman Russ, where the cannons are just ridiculously huge. for it. But this is like a scout tank, so it's more heavily armored than the Centaur, which carries the units, but it is super fast. And I suppose it's something that actually Guard have been missing in the mechanical sense of it. They've got a lot of like tanks that sit back, and they've got kind of the Sentinels that kind of that take the front line. The idea of they've got a small, speedy tank that has a very minimal, like 1-2 person crew. I'm like, okay, I can get behind this. I feel there's a lot of kit bash material here as well. A lot of kit bash material you could do with this. Great to see if Gene Stealer Cults could take over these. Interesting stuff. I'm very hyped. So I'm like, I'm interested in this. And lots of weapon options as well. So you've got las cannon, you've got auto cannon, battle cannon, melter. I like the way it can come with a melter or a stubber, which is really cool. And then basically all of the rules for this is going to be in this new book, Armageddon: The Return of Yarrick. So this is going to be 3 books split up, basically talking about the Yarrick's return to Armageddon and the fight against Gutsmack Speed War, and basically the idea that they're trying to get rid of the Orc Speed War prior to Ghazghkull turning up. They know that there's a massive Orc basically war on its way. They know it's on its way, but they're like, right, well, if we can eliminate what's on the planet at the start, they can start to reinforce, they can start to entrench themselves a little bit, get ready for the bigger war. So it'd be interesting to see if they do achieve that or not. I'm like, okay. So yeah. Hello. So it's like, what? And there's going to be a couple of battalion boxes to get a hold of some of these. So I like this one for Guard. The fact that you get here the Rogel Dawn, 2 of the new small tanks, and 1 of the new transport carriers, and some Cadians. This is a really interesting Guard force. Yeah, I know. Shake is excited. He wants all the fusses. So yeah, 10 Cadian shock troops to go in the Centaur, 2 of the new Hippogriffs, and a Rogel Dawn. Because why not? Why not a giant Rogel Dawn tank, right? And then there was also 3 other battalion boxes that are coming out. I feel like the battalion box is interesting wording, because it's not a battle force, nor is it a large... It's bigger than a combat patrol, but it's not as big as a battle force, which is interesting. So you got one for Adeptus Sororitas, which has the Paragon warsuits, some sister Noviates, so the kind of like trainee sisters, a Repentia, a Canoness, and Milkshake. Stop it. And then some of these guys, I can't remember their name. What they're called? Repentia, Sister Repentia. That's it. A Deathwatch one. Now this does intrigue me. I've made no secret that I'm a fan of Deathwatch Milkshake. That is not a snack. That is a tub of Vallejo thick mud. He's just like swatting it, like, hey, give me this thing. Are you okay? Ow. You swat me. Hey, Prom, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. I like this box. Yeah, this is the box. I like this box a lot. It's definitely the one that, though, has received the most critique online, I think. Which is kind of interesting. Because it is the 10-man squad that you get in the Kill Team box that you got in the Tomb World box, and a Corvus Blackstar. I mean, I think a lot of people were hoping there was going to be some new Deathwatch stuff. Which I'm kind of like... I don't know what new Deathwatch stuff you were kind of expecting, but this is technically new Deathwatch stuff, because you can only buy this kit at the moment as a Kill Team in a 5-man squad. So the fact that you're effectively going to be able to get this as a 10-man squad, which was only previously available before in the Tomb World box, whilst it's not new, it's definitely the first time you can kind of grab and buy it, which is good. Avian's like, pets. Wait, if pets not on a countdown? Are you about to get so many pets, Milkshake? You're about to get all the pets. Just get penance. Get penance. Hold on. Should we? How much pets are we going with this, Shakeums? Are you ready? Oh, he was like flinching. He's like, no, father, I'm not ready for the fusses. And Solo Tech coming up with the pets as well. You know, Milkshake. We'll give you pets until you don't want any more pets. Oh, Verity's giving pets. Everyone's on pets. I always thought pets were on a cooldown timer. My bad. Sorry, Milkshake. You're now about to face the wrath of all the pets. Got your ear playing with your little earsies. He's giving his little, like, little slow blinks of enjoyment. There's Milkshake. Oh, no, so I can't do it because he's not facing the right way. Yeah. Want some more? No. Stop trying to come up onto the desk, you. This confidence he's got all of a sudden. Let me get that schmuck out of your eye. Yes, you did. Attaboy. He's like, how dare you? That was my eye booger. As someone who has the old Death Watch kill team of the Firstborn, they are some of my favourite models to paint. That's fair. Oh, I found his tickly spot. Sends his leg going if I tickle him right here. No, Milkshake, stop trying to come over onto the desk. You know you're not allowed onto the desk. Milkshake does have opinions. He does have opinions. He's like, wait, if I can pet... he was petting the camera. He was petting you lot too. He's plotting his course. He's like, I can climb over the stack of paints. Milkshake, no! No! Told you he was going to try it. No. Come on, you're better than that, buddy. You know you're not supposed to come over onto the desk. That look of like, you want to bet? He does. He just wants to get closer. But I mean, this is how close we sit, though. It's like, Father, I want camera. You messed up my fur. Yeah, if I go as close as possible, my arm is basically on his pillow now. If I sit here and paint, he normally does enjoy like just headbutting me. He's not sure. Okay, I'll lay down. There you go. Move that out of the way for you. Yeah, he is a little diva. He is. We love him. Yeah, that's it. When his pupil goes, like fully dilated, you know he's going into hunty mode. There you go, little buddy. You okay? It's just like, yeah, I'm enjoying this. I am very much enjoying this. Hey, Censura, how are you doing? Just jumped in for the Milkshake & Co. show tonight. That is it. That's how it's always worked. It's Milkshake here, and I am simply his mouthpiece. I simply just talk on his behalf. That's why I'm the family-friendly filter, because some of the stuff Milkshake says, woo! It is not appropriate for stream. Anybody. The side eye. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, there you go. There he is. There's our little guy. Hi. You want some treats? Should I give you a little treat? Let me grab the treats. So, Milkshake's treats today are not sponsored by Bonkers. They are Bonkers, but we're not sponsored. We should get to, so anyone who makes the Bonkers, hit us up. Hit us up, Milkshake, and get some treats. It's my hair. No, you dropped one, buddy. Oh no, Bubba. Oh, he's knocked them all over. Okay, let's put them on the pillow then instead. Is that better for you? Milkshake, you ate all 4 of those in one mouthful. The limits for pets did not exist. It did not, and that was it. We just keep going. Hey. He's like, I know one fell on the floor, and I'm like, I know it did. I just don't know where. Hey, little buddy. Oh, look at it. You dribbled on stream, Milkshake. There we go. Okay, back over here we go now. Bless him, a little dribble boy. He must be hungry. You've had dinner, haven't you? He's had dinner, hasn't he, Verity? Or do I need to let him back out to have dinner? I'm sure he's had his first round of dinner, right? I know we're throwing off timings because I got home very late. But yeah. He has it first half. Okay, cool. That's fine. Okay, thank you. Did you want your second half? Is that the problem? I can't give it to you while you're in here. There's no more treats there. No. Bubby, there's no more treats. Do you want me to move this stuff? Is that the problem? Too much stuff in your way. Do you want me to move it? If I put that there, I can't use my stream deck. When they dribble, they are happy. That is it. He's always a happy boy. I've not seen him dribble on stream before. That was what was really funny. Right. Is that better for you? Now you've got this whole area all cleaned off for you. Is that better? No? No input. Nothing. It's just like, eh. Oh. My grandpa was bald and our yellow lab climbed up onto his head, lay down and drooled. Yeah, tapped it. That's hilarious. Like, yeah, you're like drooling on the bald head, like, no! Happy kitty, purring away there. Aww. Aww. So back to the other reason we're live. Miniatures, right? I know we're really here for Milkshake, but we should probably talk about some minis. Milkshake's like, big yawn. Big yawn and chill. Yes, there's also Deathcopters in the other battalion, the 4th battalion we were chatting about. So Deathcopters, a Boomdacker Snazwagon, and a Wartrike. So very fast battalion box. I've no idea what these battalions are going to be like. But I like the fact that you get some Deathcopters, which is very cool. Always big fan of the Deathcopters, even the original ones from the Assault, or well, I'd say the original, the plastic kit from the Assault and Black Reach one was pretty cool. Hey, buddy. Do you want to go down? Is that the problem? Have I got too close to you now? Is that the issue? Yeah, miniatures? What is this? I know, right? What is this stuff? What? Yeah. So that's all the stuff for Armageddon. That was all the stuff for Armageddon. And we chatted a bit about the new edition of 40k. What else did we have? Let's go back to all the reveals. No, that's just that main one. Oh, that's why, because I'm in the 40k section. No wonder I can't see them all. There we go. There's all the reveals. There was a giant Mephiston, which was kind of cool. Giant 1/6 scale sculpt, which is massive. It was like 2 foot tall, which is huge. Absolutely massive. Interesting character to pick. I suppose it coincides with the Blood Angels kind of existing, which is like, that's fair. But it's very cool. I like these little. I'm so sorry. I'm so yawny today. I'm so sorry. It's been a day. The what do you call it? Brain. Brain is just going. The little glass vials there are really, really cool. Say glass vials out of the glass. And a new Joy Toy helmet. Now, this has got... A few people were complaining about this, saying that it looks like it's just the same as the Ultramarine helmet, just painted differently. And I'm like, well, I don't really know what people were kind of expecting. It's got a custom base with the White Scars sigil on it. I think... I'm a bit thrown about what people were expecting, but they're hoping there was some like more White Scars stuff kind of on it. I think I was a bit thrown by what people were expecting from this. But I've seen a few people kind of sort of being like, oh, it's just another kind of generic helmet. And I'm like, it's a cool looking helmet. It's got like LEDs, it lights up, it's got a custom stand. I'm like, it's okay. It's pretty cool. It's about what I was expecting. I doubt that they were going to design a bunch of new ones per faction. It makes sense that they have a standard design, but they just paint them differently. Maybe that's me. Yes, yeah, they're completely wearable. So they're full size for wearing. Oops. Oh, wait. Where has it gone? So it's like the Ultramarine one, so you can wear it and it lights up, which is really, really cool. I can't remember what the prices were for them on the Warhammer Witch. How much were they? White Scars helmet. It comes with a t-shirt for... Oh, there you go. So, that's the Titus helmet. So I think people were kind of grumpy. It looks like the Titus helmet just resprayed. But I feel like that doesn't surprise me. Yeah, if anything, that's just efficient, right? But yeah, they're 1-to-1 scale. And they've got it's battery-powered LEDs. Which is kind of cool. Guessing £150 or 200 Canadian. I was close. Yeah, not bad. They're saying not bad. Pretty close. I think the helmets themselves... Probably... Yeah, it's I think they're, what, 115? And that comes with a t-shirt as well. So I reckon the helmets are probably about 100. If they release them separately. I feel it's an interesting choice to go from Ultramarines to White Scars. I wonder how they picked which one to do next. Is probably my question there. I wonder how they chose which one to do next. That I've seen that people saying, please give us a beaky helmet. Like, give us a beaky one. That'd be interesting if they do a beaky. I wouldn't mind seeing a Mark 7 one would be really cool to see, or a Mark 3. Those would be really cool to see. I mean, I suppose it makes sense that it's a 40k helmet. So, but now that they're changing up the Primera squads with older sections and panels of armor, maybe. There is also a giveaway. You can, if you need to log into your My Warhammer account between now and the 1st of April, and that's all you need to do. You just need to log in, and you'll be entered into a prize draw for this. So I was in class when the reveal was going on earlier, so I did see the Steel Legion project design artwork. Well, the Wingers got their models, but it was in the cards already. We'll see how well they do, and when, and of course, I need to eat my crow. That's it. Well, they said at the start of the preview video, they said very much that the Steel Legion are at least they are going to be released at some point in the next 2 years. It's an early concept model. It's an early concept of it. They're kind of like they did with the World Eaters and the Emperor's Children. They went, we're going to announce that these are coming and show you some of the designs, but you probably won't see them on the tabletop for at least 18 months. Which I'm like, that's fair. Whinge? Wait, what was the whinge? Was I whinging? Did I whinge? Mark 6, Mark 3 are also my faves, so I wouldn't be opposed. Ah. Oh, Winge, not me. Okay, cool. Oh, the Wingers. Sorry, Wingers. Sorry. I thought you said the Winger. I didn't even realise that. I thought the Winger was some sort of cool Steel Legion unit. I was like, huh? But yeah. Oh. Hey, cheeky bug. Hi. How you doing? Yeah, so the Mephisto model looks cool. That would be awesome to win, although I would have no idea where to put it. I would be a complete loss. There was an Aeronautica Imperialis animation as well, which looks really cool. There wasn't any more information in the article. I did read through. It's just going to be a new animation about Aeronautica Imperialis, which I'm happy with. I would love for them to bring the game back, though. I was a big fan of the game. Bring us more 40k mini flyers. It does take some time for models to be created and produced. I recall them talking to some non-GW manufacturers, saying it's about 2 years. Yeah, which is about right. And I think sometimes people seem to think that... they sort of go, oh yeah, they just get it done, right? It's like, nah, there's so much work that goes into it. There's the designs, and then you got to remember with GW, it's all they can design the models, then they have to deconstruct the models. No. To put them onto the sprues, and then they have to create the molds, and then they've got to put them into production, and then they've got to box them. So there's still all the graphic designs for the boxes and everything like that, the instruction manuals, then quality checking, first batch. They'll probably receive the first batch of quality check ready in maybe 12 months, and then another 6 months of teething problems before they're even thought about being announced, and then they would be released. So yeah, it's a fair one. I was surprised to see Aeronautica coming back. I wish it was coming back as a full-blown, not just this, this. If that makes any sense. Don't get me wrong, I think the trailer for this looked fantastic. I think they're doing a really, really good job with all their animations at the moment. I was just kind of sad it wasn't, a full game coming back. No, it's just an animation. It's just a Warhammer Plus animation, Avian, unfortunately. So there are no models for it. It's just talking about this is going to be a new Warhammer Plus animation. I really, really was hoping it was going to come back as a game. I was very much hoping for it. I mean, if I... I mean, you can tell. I love my Aeronautica. You can see boxes of it up there. I've got all 3 box sets that they released. So the only things I don't have for Aeronautica is I don't have every Forge World plane. I have a Custodes one, and I have one of the Necrons, but I don't have all of the Necrons, sadly. Aeronautica could make a good fighter game like X-Wing and Ace Combat. It would be really good, actually. There was an Aeronautica Imperialis video game on Steam, and then it got taken down after a year or 2. So I'm assuming whoever had the license to publish it lost the license, or didn't renew it, so the game just got taken down, I guess. So I was like, okay, interesting. Yeah, it very much was a niche within a niche, but I did love it though. I did love it. I was like, ooh. But yeah, because it was I don't know if it was called Aeronautica Imperialis Flight Command, and you now can't buy it on Steam, which is weird. It had mixed reviews, all 198 reviews. Guess it wasn't overly popular. So yeah, it's a shame, very much a shame. I'm like, oh. But I would love to see that again. The same as Battlefleet Gothic. I'd love to have that return to the tabletop in all its glory. Speaking of returning to the tabletop in all of its glory, the Red Terror returns on Devlin. This is... what a glow up. Right? What an absolute glow up. This thing is what? It's fantastic. Compared to what it was, if anyone hadn't seen the old Red Terror, it's hilarious. Let me get a picture of it up. The old Red Terror sculpt was a thing indeed. So this is the glow up this thing has had. Are you ready? This is the new Red Terror. This is the old Red Terror. Yeah. There was I believe there was another Red Terror sculpt, but I might be wrong. I feel like it got shifted from metal to Finecast at one point. I'm wondering if that's why I'm thinking there was a second sculpt. But yeah, what an absolute glow up, right? Just like, whoo, whoo. It just looks fantastic. Yeah. I'm sure. I'm not sure what to think. One, we can get even more flexibility in models to be created in Kill Team. Reintroduction of the Amble, which means people can fill out their Blackstone 2 Fortress. Yes. Yeah, 2. It's Kill Team. I think it's interesting that the Red Terror being here in Kill Team is they talk about what the rule set for this is. So there's a new way to basically play Kill Team called Nemesis. So we'll skip over to it down here. So this Nemesis operatives is basically what would happen if you had a small squad and there was something massive going on. So effectively here, there's like you're a stealth suit battle Kill Team is the example they give. And you might call upon a crisis battlesuit ally when they need heavier firepower to fight off something like a Tyrannid Screamer Killer, which is kind of cool. So, and then there's the cooperative joint missions where, like when you fought off against the Nightbringer in the previous set, where basically it was like here's a campaign where both kill teams are going up against like the Nightbringer, or one big kill team split between 2 players. And I enjoyed that. I thought that was quite fun. So it did look very, very good fun. Yeah, so which I think is very cool. But I agree, it's definitely interesting to see something so large in Kill Team. But I guess the way they've introduced it is kind of fun. If anything, it reminds me of fighting the Trigon in Space Marine 2. 3 Marines go in against a Trigon. On the tabletop, 3 Marines versus a Trigon is just not a fight that the Marines are going to win. It doesn't really matter how good the Marines are. Realistically, those Marines aren't going to win it. So this is kind of like putting that same level of terror, but from a Kill Team match, which I think is kind of cool. Yeah, right. Wasn't the Nightbringer was the first one to do it in the set for the Nightbringer. The set that came out in, which I thought was very cool. Her promise like this is what I've been wanting. Yeah, I feel like it almost makes me think it's almost like a cooperative board game kind of night, which is really cool. Oh, Koalas, they could do it if they were movie Marines. Good lord. Moving on to Spectre Squad. This is Spectre Squad. Now, these models have received an unfair amount of critique. And I'm very sad about this because the models are stunning. But I think a lot of people have gone, why aren't they Catchicans? Is the one thing that's been flooding my DMs. Is like, oh, I mean, they look great, but they're not Catchicans. And I'm like, well, there was a lot of hints that we thought it might be Catchicans. But there was a lot of like rumours, but as always, just rumours. But I think that selling these short is like, that people aren't appreciating them for how gorgeous these sculpts are. Because I think they look fantastic. They almost reminds me a bit of like the Tanith squad that comes with Gaunt, which I think is very cool. But yeah, I think they're stunning. They've got a lot. Each one's got a lot of personality to them. Can you remember the rules for movie Marines, Lewis? It was an old white dwarf. No, not off the top of my head. I remember it being mentioned at one point, and I think I've got some. I think one of my friends has got the old white dwarf, but I can't. No, not the thing I've ever played. I knew it scratched a small itch of the reference though. They would work well as the ghost models. Yeah, I think for Gaunt's ghosts they work really well. Like, they've kind of given each one... This is what I love about Kill Team. Each model looks like its own character. Because that's what Kill Team really is. This is like... This looks to me like this is Spectre Squad. A ragtag band of Estremiltarum who have been... who have found an unusual crashed ship from the Wayland Yutani Corp. And then a very unusual Tyrannid is hunting them. Welcome to Cadians versus Aliens. Like, I feel like it's something along those lines, which is kind of fun. Yeah, they look like every model is its own character, which I think is great. So I'm like, yeah. Ooh, ouch. Do. So yeah, I'm very hyped. Do. Hey, not man, Lewis is an idea for you. If just a diorama of them looking like, I mean, you've almost got a turret. You just need to grab one of the other turrets, right? If this is the story, then I can see why the elite unit doesn't come with a cat. As the cat would win, even though in movie movies the cat would win every time. Excuse me. I'm so hiccupy and yawny today. I'm so sorry. I'm just like, oh. I'm fine. But all of this comes in this brand new Kill Team box, which looks awesome. And then this Nemesis Operatives box, which is basically about calling in something bigger to help with the Kill Team fights. And of course, coming alongside that is finally a re-release of the Amble from Blackstone Fortress, which is absolutely brilliant. This model is one I was so sad was locked into a Blackstone Fortress expansion. It did get a second release at one point, the Amble. It was I don't know if it was the Necromunda release or something. I remember there being a release for the Amble just randomly a little while ago, but I can't remember exactly what was happening for it, because this model got a re-release for something. What did it get released for? I can't remember which. It was one of the skirmish games, or it was like a mission. Where are we at? Maybe it was just a made to order and I'm confusing it. I remember the Amble got... Because it was originally released in Blackstone Fortress, and then it got released... Combat Arena, I think it was. Is that what it was called? It was like a game mode called... It was a box... No, that was it. It was a boxed game for like Barnes & Noble called Combat Arena. So that was it. That's what it came out in. And I was sad it never got released over here in the UK. Yeah, Ambot, not Amble. I thought, wait, the layer of the Amble. Yeah, yeah, I've got the Ambots. I've got some of the Ambots for Necromunda. But no, yeah, the Amble had what do you call it? My brain is just like my brain going. Oh, bye, buddy. You off skis? Oh, the milkshake wants to head out. Let me just let him out. You were confusing myself. Hey, buddy. Off you pop. Go, little buddy. There you go. Go hang out with your mama. I didn't even eat biscuits out. It took a bit longer because I went and got myself some biscuits. Behold! Cream egg Oreos. Oh. Rules to have a night and kill team sound insane, but I'm here for it. I feel like good fun, right? The idea would be so much fun if you could bring something big in. I like the fact the Amble I will definitely be picking up. What I will also be picking up is the Zote! Oh, the Archivist. It's a Zote. It's 100% a Zote. It's the Zote. Originally in the escalation expansion for Blackstone Fortress, people have been, myself included, have been dying for them to release this. To be like, please release it, please release it, please release it. Like, please, 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 please. And it sounds like they are going to release it. So I'm like, yes. Oh, good, the Zote returns. I'm missing an arm. What? You're missing an arm from your Zote? Oh, no. Oh, no. Damn. Bear with me. Ah. You know what, Prom? I'll give you that. A Zote. This could be new Seraphon, right? This counts as new Seraphon, huh? 100%. I'll give you that, Prom. I'll give you that. I'm like, yeah, why not? Remember, kiddos, glue together your push fit models. Oh no. Did you just do the push fit and then it fell off? Wait, was this push fit? I wonder if this will still be push fit. I imagine it's the same sprue. I'm imagining so anyway. I'd be surprised if it wasn't. Wow. I would love to see the Blackstone Fortress expansion zone be re-released. The upside, though, is now that the model is available, I imagine somebody would have probably put the rules from their expansion kit online. So you can, now that you can pick up the model, you could find and download the rules to play this in-game. If you've got the original board, which would be cool. Yeah, I love this. Love it. So it was a big day for Kill Team. A new game mode, a whole new box. I can imagine it won't be long till these are released. If I was to pick anything on this list to be released in the next 3 weeks, it would be this Kill Team box. Honestly, I think it would be the Kill Team box. Would be very quick on the release. I could see GW doing a digital code to download the Blackstone Fortress assets for the models. That'd be cool, yes. Is it still part of the old season? I think so. Yeah, they didn't say it was a new... It's just an expansion. So normally if it's a new season, they kind of update the starter box, don't they? Or they at least go, it's a new season, we're off to a new planet. So I think it's still part of the same season. Because it's that kind of... following on from the big the Nightbringer fight, I guess. So, next up, Horus Heresy, a new Land Raider. Which is, you know what? It's a Land Raider. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. In any way, shape, or form. It's a cool looking sculpt. I think I don't run Land Raiders. Now I can't deep strike them. I don't run Land Raiders. So, which is pretty cool. But yeah, it's alright. It's pretty cool. It's a Spartan, not a Land Raider. Isn't it the Land Raider Spartan Prometheus? Or was that... Wait, have I misread that? I mean, they said Land Raider on the video. I remember that. That's the only reason I grabbed the Land Raider idea. So the Space Marines need to get across the battlefield quickly and safely in numbers. They pile into Spartan assault tanks. Oh, okay. Oh, my bad. Yeah. Which is fair. What? Avian, calm down. Avian, calm down. Like, whoa. Chill. But yeah, I think for me and my sleepiness when Eddie was saying Land Raider Spartan, I mean maybe my brain there was a Freudian slip of the tongue on his side of it as well, where he said the same thing, so I've just picked it up from there. So yeah, so it's a Spartan, so it's a different kind of tank. That's kind of cool. I didn't realise it was a different kind of tank. This piques my interest up a little bit more. I think because it looks so much like the Land Raider Spartan or the Land Raider Prometheus. My brain has just gone Land Raider. That's fair. But yeah, so what's the difference? What's the difference between a Spartan and a Land Raider then? Because they look very similar. Oh, they're bigger, so they've got bigger transport capacity. Oh, that's cool. Ah. Like, much bigger capacity? Size of cup holders. That's fair. Mm. 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 I didn't realize that they were, they had a much bigger size of it. That's kind of cool. A bit longer. A little bit longer. Okay. Hey, Scrot, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well, Commando, as well. I hope you're doing good. I'm like, okay. Did I get the Age of Darkness box? I did. I did. Is that not a Land Raider Spartan in there? Was that a whole different tank? Have I just really been have I really messed up? What was in the Age of Darkness box? Let's have a look. You got in the Age of Darkness box, you got... Oh, it was a Spartan assault tank. Oh! I legitimately thought that was called a Land Raider Spartan. Yeah, that's her. I've been really calling that wrong this whole time. Huh. Yeah, I literally called it a Land Raider Spartan. My bad. No way. Yeah, I didn't realize. The more you know. That's exactly it. I was like, I legitimately thought this was just a new... so it turns out I have a Spartan assault tank. Just never used it. Okay. I've even built it. That's how little I thought it was. I built it. No way. That's wild. Yeah, I literally built it. So that's how little I saw the difference. That's my ignorance there. So, okay. Funky new tank. New tank. Very cool. And then some new Ogrins, which I think are really interesting because it's seeing Ogrins. This is going to come out wrong. Fully clothed. And I think it's more because the Ogrins, they normally are defined by, like, they have a lot of exposed, like, flesh. They have these massive bulging muscles. They're normally, like, some sort of overall. Or, like, dungarees. So the fact that this one's, like, fully in, like, a suit is really interesting. And so these are the Charonite Ogrin selection. They look to me like they have literally been pulled out of mining. I feel like they literally look like they've been pulled out of like these wouldn't look amiss in if they turned out they were working for the Leagues of Votan or something. Even though I know it's heresy. Yeah, they look very much like they would have been like, yeah, we've been down in the mines. I've been yearning for the mines. And then they were just like, they went down there and they were like, hey, do you want to come and fight in this war? And they were like, no. They went, okay, let's change this. We have to come fight in this war, otherwise they're going to come in here and take everything out of the mines. So they go, let's go, boys! Have the Ogrins stolen the Baron Harkon clothes from Doom? I wish I'd seen Dune to be able to understand that reference. But they're very cool sculpts. It's interesting because I kind of always assumed Ogrins, not that they weren't in the Heresy, but I don't really remember them being mentioned that they were in Heresy. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. It's alright. It's pretty sweet. The Ogrins exist. Nice. Okay, I can understand that. Oh no, minor Ogrim. Now I have to think of Yorkshire or Welsh miners' accents. Just be like, oh no. Oh no. Oh. But I do like these. They were resin before. No way, I didn't realise they actually had resin Ogryns for Heresy. I have to admit, I never really paid masses of attention to Heresy before it started coming in plastic, and it was mainly because it was just something that I was priced out of at the time while I was collecting in the hobby. Forge World was not as accessible and was more expensive than I was prepared at the time to spend onto the hobby. So, and that was kind of just where it was. Not in like it's not like a judgy way or anything like that. Just it was just one of those. But yeah. So. The entire, I remember the entire auxiliary army was resin. I just never realized they had Ogryns in them. In the Forge World resin. So, but yeah. But yeah, hey Luna, how are you doing? I'm here. The little willow pop up. You got two types of support battery was available. Now going to be available in plastic as well. You have the indirect fire and the direct fire ones. So they're two different kits. So this is the indirect fire ones where you get the bombards or the mole miners, which is kind of cool. I just happen to have my 3 types of tanks as a pick reference for you. I can put it in the Discord. Yeah, feel free, do it. Yeah, go for it. It'd be interesting to see what the size difference is between the tanks. But yeah, so you get these are the indirect ones, and here are the direct fire batteries. So these ones are the ones that basically they're going to go. Basically, you've got more frontline and backline really here. So rear guard firing from afar over your army. These ones probably walking up with your troops, just kind of be like heavy bolters, quad cannons. I think it's a laser destroyer, isn't it? Yeah, Gravis multi-laser destroyer, which is very, very cool. Have I done all of the previews yet? We've done so far. We have started with we're going in order. So we've chatted about Armageddon. We've spoken about Kill Team. And now we're on the Heresy one. So that's what we got so far. So yeah, I think there's a few other bits next up. Ooh, chucked in the whip, thank you. I'll have a nosy in a mo. Where are we at here? These are going to come with the Journal Tactica, the Battle of Talon. Was there something that we've already gone through that you want to chat about, Luna? So that's all the Heresy stuff. Yeah, so we've gone through. We did from the bottom up. Warhammer Underworlds, it was a small announcement for Underworlds. Yeah, I thought it was great for models. I thought they did a really nice selection this year of stuff. It was a strong preview. If I was to sit and rank the various previews, this is a very strong preview. I think they are kind of, there was a good variety. It was very, very good. And so I'm like, okay. I thought it was very good. Hiccup in a way. Oh, sorry. I'm okay. I'm alive. This is the new Lumineth Warhammer Underworld warband. It was the only announcement for Warhammer Underworlds that there's going to be a new Lumineth warband, and the models look really cool. The Fox was very much people's favourite mini from this selection. I think it looks really cool. They have some unique rules. which means that they kind of fight in the direction kind of to do with the wind, very similar to the spearhead that exists for the Force. So the spearhead for Lumineth, obviously they have this rule where basically they do this kind of like, the wind moves each turn around the board, comes from a different direction, and they get bonuses if they go with the wind because of that whole like light and wind and elemental magic. This is a very similar thing, so they have it here. So use this in your power step. If your leader and friendly Zul model are on the battlefield, that's the Zul, you can remove the Zul from the battlefield and place it in a different empty hex. So it kind of moves with the wind. I feel like I imagine it's like, ride like the wind, bullseye. Da, da, da. Yeah, from that sort of style. That's what I'm imagining. do. I want the little fox guy. It's just a little foxy, little fox. Little tiny little do. Just gonna boop. Boopity boop. Yeah, it's a really nice set, and that was kind of the only announcement for Underworlds. I wasn't expecting anything huge, and I think it's a nice kill team. It was a nice Underworlds warband. I will probably have more information for it coming up soon, I imagine. We then pivoted to Middle Earth, over to Middle Earth, where we had right here. For the first time in 25 years, that is a quarter of a century, just to make everybody feel even older right here, the Riders of Rohan get an updated sculpt, because of course they were originally released with the film. So I hadn't realised that these hadn't had like any sort of update to their like sprue or design. But yeah, the fact that this is Yep. This is here. We're not going to see anything for it now. You get a new sculpt for 25 years is a bit wild. But they look great. I think they're going to come in a box of 6, which is interesting. I guess one of them you can make as like a character maybe, or if not, you just get 6. Thank goodness. Hopefully they do a command group as well. Well, Battle Squig. Well, are you ready? The command group! They did the command group as well. You knew. It's like you wished it to come true, and it did. They did the Rohan commanders. Oh, the command group on horses. Oh, that's fair. I think, did they say did they say there was an upgrades in here? You can build 6 miniatures with a varieties of weapons. 4 of them can be assembled with your choice of hand weapon or throwing spear. The other 2 have their bows out with right-hand weapons stowed at their waists. All 6 of their steeds are unique, and any rider can be mounted on any horse, so you've got loads of variety. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, maybe we'll get the command group soon then, I feel. I thought it was going to be this command group. I was like, well, yeah, best I can do, 2 legs. Best I could do is walking. That's what we can do for you. Yeah, best I can do is walking, nothing else. Oh. But I think, I think these look great. There was an option on here as well to give one of them some heavy armor. So when you build it, you can put on an extra, instead of the leather outer jacket, you can put on like a scale mail, which I thought was really cool for one of the models in this sculpt. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. So I was like, okay, this is very, very cool. Excuse me. Oh. Why do I keep hiccuping? I feel I'm hiccuping and yawning, and my body is like, I don't know what's wrong. But something is wrong. Now they're the Riders of Rohan, not the Speedwalkers of Rohan. I like that. They definitely focus on the War of the Rohirrim era. Yes, yeah, that's what they said this was about. The focusing, these are all specifically for the War of the Rohirrim. Which matches because the other kit that they announced was the Hill Tribesman. So the Hill Tribes Chieftain, a Tribesman with Banner, and a Tribesman with Warhorn. This is a Hill Tribesman Commander set that is going to be announced. So it's like, oh, which is going to be very, very cool. And they also come with if you're looking to, for those of you looking to burn Rohan during the War of the Ring, all 3 miniatures can be used as wild men of Dunland armies, with the chieftain already having the option to be built as the Oathmaker as well. So you get this option here, which is cool. I do like the fact that they've said that these are going to be available to use in both sets of books. But I like the fact that you can kind of go, oh, I want them specifically to look like the Dunland guys attacking Rohan. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like, I'm up for this. This is like, okay, I can go for that. Finally, Tom Bombadil in a movie. Oh, is it the Stephen Colbert thing? Yeah, I saw Colbert and his son are looking at doing a movie adaptation for Lord of the Rings, and I'm kind of excited because I know he's a huge Lord of the Rings fan. Yeah, I think, isn't he? He's working with somebody. He's co-writing it, isn't he? He's not directing it. I think he said he's co-writing it, which is going to be interesting. I feel, yeah, we might get Tom Bombadil. I think there was an announcement about what it was called, or about when it was set. There was something about it. Where was it if I find the article? Yeah, talk show host Stephen Colbert to write the new Lord of the Rings film. It was announced. He's announced his next move after his late night talk show ends. Is he wants to co-write the next Lord of the Rings film, with his son Peter McGee. He apparently has spoken with Peter Jackson about wanting to do this, and he's come up with an idea of a film reportedly called The Lord of the Rings: Shadow of the Past. He says, but he came up with this, but he never thought he would have time to work on it, and now that his show is ending, he's going to have plenty of time. The official film synopsis is that 14 years after passing of Frodo, Sam, Merry, and Pippin set out to retrace their first steps of their adventure. Meanwhile, Sam's daughter, Eleanor, has discovered a long-buried secret and is determined to uncover why the War of the Ring was very nearly lost before it even began. Interesting. It's going to be kind of interesting to see there what he does. So, yeah, I'm intrigued to know what happens there. Obviously, that could all change. Very much all change. There's a lot of... Lord of the Rings is very protected in terms of who has the rights to do stuff with the IP. So, all of these, anyway, these Middle-earth models come with a new book, The Burning of the Westfold. Yeah, it was a nice reveal for Middle-earth. Nice reveal. Nothing huge, but updates to some models that definitely needed it. I was a little gutted it wasn't updates to Rivendell elves. I would love to have seen like the Gladrihim elves and stuff, but it be what it is. The Lord of the Rings meets Free Ren. It kind of feels like that, doesn't it? It's like beyond the journey's end. Like afterwards, they've done a retrace of their steps. Well, okay. Which is kind of it. But I would be intrigued as well if they do that, if they get the same actors back, because they would look all look older. That would be so cool. So they get like Sean Astin back as Samwise. They get the same Billy Boyd, and the other guy's name I can never remember. What's his name? Why can I never remember his name? I can't remember. Dominic Monaghan, thank you. I remember I was like, I know it's something. I was like, my brain was like McLaughlin. I was like, no, it's not McLaughlin. I couldn't remember. Thank you. Yeah, I feel like there would be it'd be fun if they all came back for it. Right, I think that would be really interesting if they did. Like, okay, because they are all older, it would kind of fit around that sort of like era. Okay, we're older now. It could work. It could work. Yes. But I'm like, I could be up for that. Next up, that was Middle-earth. We go on to probably I would say, the biggest reveal. And what I mean by this is, this is the biggest reveal that in terms of quantity of models. And that is for the Cities of Sigmar. They got a lot of stuff. And the biggest thing is this. The Cannonade Cog Fort. So this is basically the Age of Sigmar scaling up. This is huge. This is them effectively getting siege machines. The war is ramping up across the Mortal Realms. We know we've had Scaventide happen. They blew up the city. They took out thousands, if not millions, of people in the destruction. So they decided, you know what? We're going to make our own walking and moving cities. And I think it's fantastic. I think these look ridiculous. Like, I'm so sure that's a 100 mil base, which is just massive. Something to fight Gargants. I mean, true, yeah, they're previously only fighting Gargants with Gargants. Now they're like, well, you know what? We're going to do what we do. That's what we're going to do. Like, you got your own Gargants, I've got this walking Tower of Doom. It's like, I got this big thing. So yeah, I'm just like, yep, this is great. There's two variants of it. There's the Cog Fort, the Cannonade Cog Fort, and then there is the Combuster Cog Fort. What was it called? Cannonade Cog Fort, and what's the actual name for it? The Conqueror Cog Fort, where the Conqueror is a transport vehicle which has a massive flamer weapon on it. 100, Lord, 160. Sorry, I was thinking, what size base is the Archeon on? I feel like that's the size base this is on. That's the 160, not the 100 mil, isn't it? Yes. I feel like this is also making. There's going to be so many of these painted up as like Ghibli style Howl's Moving Castle. I feel there's going to be a load of them as like Peter Jackson's Mortal Engines. Not to mention a load of other various things. I wouldn't be surprised if we see these kit bashed into Imperial Knights. Like people doing loads of things. It's going to be very cool. Verity's like, I want one. Gimme. The cool thing about this as well is they are a Cities of Sigmar unit. However, much like Gargants can be taken in every faction, and they made a point of saying every single faction in Age of Sigmar can take one of these in their army, and it would be stylistically changed. So you're going to have this kind of options here where you can turn around and be like, oh, well, this one's actually, from the realm of the dead. So let me just replace all the models on it with a bunch of, skeletons or night haunts, and it can be very dilapidated, which would be very cool. You could do it where it's actually ran by the Fire Slayers, which could be really cool. So it could be covered in it could be spewing out lava, covered in Urgold. There's even the Caradron Overlords. Stick a couple of balloons on it. I suppose you should compare the Cog Fort against the 1/6 Mephisto. Oh, I like that, like a fancy stomper. Yes, that's a good shout. I always think the Gargants needed a wall to bash. Here's the walls. Go to Gargants. I like it. This explains the Gobbo Photoshop memes I saw. God, I've seen so many memes. The funniest ones I've seen, though, have been people kit bashing this with Marnius Kelgar. Going, Kelgar didn't get a model. Quick, let's give him an Ultramarine sculpt. And they're just like replacing it with like his head in the middle. Like it's just Kelgar, which is really funny. That's right, yeah, Seraphon conversion would be really cool. There's going to be a lot you can do with this, and I love the fact that they are giving it those different rules. They said just about every faction can take them. I thought they said every faction, didn't they? They talked about Chaos Demon ones. Have they retconned that slightly? Oh, no, you're right. Just about every faction can call upon their outrageous power, one way or another, as a regiment of renown. Oh, I wonder who can't. Interesting. I wonder who can't. Because they even said in the video, they said it's every faction, and they talked about they'd seen rules for running them influenced by the Chaos Gods. Or forces of destruction or death. I suppose, yeah, which sub-faction can't? Maybe Ideneth? Maybe? That's a Dark Oath one. So, I don't know. I wonder who wouldn't be able to take one. Who wouldn't make sense for them to have a walking fort? Interesting. It's more a phrasing thing. I think just about every faction, not nearly every faction. Okay. Yeah, okay. The flesh eaters would be too hungry to bother with it. Oh, that's true. Oh, could you imagine a flesh eater one of it? The flesh eaters are already delusional, thinking they're like regent high lords, and they're dining on feasts of the finest fruits and vegetables and meats, and they're not. They're just eating rotten food, and they're covered in decaying flesh. Oh, could you imagine a giant one of these, like, for the flesh eaters? Excuse me. I don't know if you remember the old Epic Knights, Lewis. There was a Seneschal, I think. Anyway, there was a retired knight who got tracked back. Again, going off memory. This would be an awesome basis one. Ooh, that would be cool. A tracked knight. That would be really cool, actually. Take some of those half tracks off all the new Imperial Guard vehicles. That could be really, really, really cool. Okay, yeah, I feel there's some good options there. There's some really cool touches on this as well, because it kind of shows all the details that these have with them. So you've got like all the different types of ammunition it can fire. So apparently it's got a selection of different shots that can be loaded up. They talk about this. This is really interesting. You'll notice this has got loads of like sandbags around it. Basically, that is a special engine that that's the heart of this building. This can't run if that engine is destroyed. So what they actually have is that whole section on the side of the building of the cogfort. If the cogfort is under serious attack and they think that they might lose it, they drop these sandbags, pull a lever, and this turns into a hot air balloon. And the engine then gets taken away, because that's the key part of it. The engine is the whole thing. They can afford to lose the building itself and rebuild it, but if they lose the engine, that's catastrophic. And I was like, what a great little tidbit of lore right in there to kind of look at that. Like, this whole area can detach. Which I was like, that's very cool. That's very cool. Yeah, it's like the Mortal Engines movie. Yeah. I call this one London. It's going to come and consume Bristol. Nom, nom, nom. Yeah, oh no, I was drinking when you said use the half track for it, so now I'm at a coughing fit thinking about how many would be needed. I bet a lot of the rumor engine picks are off this model. That's fair. That's fair. Is that a big cannon flame? Yes. So the Conqueror cogfort, the one that has the transport, comes with this flamer instead. So it's got a billows on the back, like a for it, which I think is really cool. I think there's an image of it on this side. Is it on here? That's the ramp it has, so people can charge out of it. But I like the fact that it's got this little. This is very fun. Cathay gets a new balloon. Oh, that'd be interesting. I don't think. I mean, hopefully we get some form of Cathay and Sigmar would be very cool. But I think they all got wiped out in the old world. But you never know. They might come back. And then they can have a really cool cogfort. I hope it comes with an engine balloon deployed model version. I'm not sure. They didn't say anything about it. They just said that was basically the engine was like a bit of lore about it. But I reckon it wouldn't be too hard to convert one. Which would be cool to get a balloon. Oh, you meant just the cogfort itself being a balloon, like. That's really cool. But a very thematic model, a lot of really nice details on this, and it just looks so cool. It's so medieval fantasy, and I love it. It's almost bordering steampunk. Almost. Then, next up, you got 3 new wizards. 3 new wizards, specifically for Cities of Sigmar. You first off have Erasmus Zon, the Enlightened One. Price. Ooh. Price for the Cogfort. Ooh. If it is 160 mil base, I reckon at minimum 125, maybe 135. However, sometimes the way GW do their pricing is if they think they're going to sell a lot of them, the price is cheaper than you expect. So sometimes they'll shrink their profit margin a bit. If, say, for example, if this was you can only have one per army, then it would be priced higher than it would be if you can take 5 of these in your army. And you can take 4 of these to be an army. You can take 4 of these together and it's an entire detachment or an army of a regiment of renown in the Cities of Sigmar battle tome. They talked about that on the thing. So I think you're right there, kind of around the side of it's going to be around there with the big knights. 125. How much is a big knight these days? Where are we? Big knight. Let me have a look. Warhammer. Uh, 118 for the biggest knight. So, yeah, maybe 125. Hey, Corvus, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. I'm kind of... My brain is saying somewhere between 125 and 135. There's a lot of model there. A lot of model. Unless it is smaller than we think. You got to think the the monolith. How much is the monolith these days? 115. So yeah, and that's probably around about the same size base. Wait, how big's the base for the monolith? Is that 120? 160 mil base. So it might not be as big as we think. In terms of, like, the monolith is big. Don't get me wrong, the monolith is huge. But if it sits within the parameters of a 160 mil base, that's a 160 mil, and the monolith is rather large, and that's 115. So... But that's very... No, I don't want to say in a bad way. It's very one-dimensional. It's an opened up kind of fortress with some very easily kind of a you guys get what I mean. This versus this is there's a lot more detail, a lot more stuff on this. It's busier. So. But yeah, and like we were saying before, because we talked about the 2 different pricing structures that GW have, depending on if they think they're going, and because there is a regiment of renown to take 4 of these in an army, you take 4 of these with one specific squad, and that's your entire force. I think this is going to be a pleasant surprise, where it's probably going to be. I think if it's just one on its own. And you can only take 1 in the army, I wouldn't be surprised if it was 135. I honestly think this could be around 120, if not 115, or maybe even 110. I think this might be a lot less than we think, to encourage people to buy more. So, imagine this in Spearhead. Yeah, we were talking about that before, Corvus. We were saying about the different pricing structures, that GW will sometimes lower the profit margin on a model, if they think they're going to sell more of them. And not as like a lost leader, but they'll say, for example, they make a standard 45%, as most companies that aim 35 to 45% they aim for. If they were like, oh, we could make 45%, but if we can make 30% on it, then great. So there's definitely things for that. It reads like a centerpiece army. Yeah, I think it's definitely designed to be a centerpiece. But I love the fact that there was a regiment where there you go. there was a regiment of renown for it. And also, because almost every other faction can take one, I wouldn't surprise me if they did them as a more appealing price. But moving on next, there was the three new elemental wizards. Well, not elemental per se, realm-based wizards. So you had Erasmus Zon, the Enlightened One, who basically has been trained by the Lumineth. So the Lumineth basically made a decision, and they said, yes, we will help you train your battle mages for it. And then Erasmus Zon came out, and he, on his heliomorph mount, named Griffwing, he basically, turns out he's better at doing spells than most Lumineth, to the point where the Lumineth fell out with him, because he picked it up very quickly. Very, very quickly. He harnesses the power of light and wind, which is very cool. You then have the collegiate battle mages. So you have the fire battle mage, who's basically been trained in the ways of magic from Ashki, which I think is very cool. And then you have a Shaishian battle mage who has basically somehow managed to harness the power of death, which I imagine is not going to go over too well with Nagash there. So interesting. So interesting. Yeah, so you got a pyrocaster and a amethyst Nell mage. A nice renod to the old world stories. Yeah, I like that idea, the colleges of magic, people learning from each other. It's very cool. Does anything go well with Nagash? I was trying to make a pun there about some fava beans and a nice Chianti. But he's not a cannibal. He just consumes souls. But great sculpts on these. Really cool dynamic sculpts. The Gate Gargants. So I told you Cities of Sigmar got a lot. The Gate Gargants. So these are a standard Gargant, so not a Mega Gargant, who basically act in a really, really cool fashion, where basically the Cities of Sigmar went, you know what, we're great at defending rather than laying siege. So what happens here is the Gargants basically use those gates as a shield, and they kind of walk forward, taking the brunt of it. And then when they get close to the enemy, they open up the gates and the rest of the army charges through, which I think is kind of cool. So yeah, which is very, very cool. I would have been here earlier, but the stream schedule says you're at the cinema. Oh, did I not post a schedule this week? Oh, my bad. I thought I put my schedule up. My schedule not go out this week. So what's the date on that schedule? Oh yeah, that's last week. We commencing the 16th of March, isn't it? Yeah. So, yeah, I did do my schedule. I just didn't post it. It's too late to put it out now. But yeah, there we go. My bad. It's just there. I obviously didn't press send. In my excitement for the Adepticon announcement, yeah, my bad. Oh, well, I can confirm the cinema was good last week. It was a good time. But yeah, the Gate Gargants, though, these are very cool. I like the idea that they have these kind of like the idea that they fight into battle, and that's going to be reflected in their rules. That they basically, you can almost, they don't attach to a unit. You'll be able to hide a unit behind the gates, which I think is very cool. Plus, they've got a little turret guy on top. Then you have the Dawner's Triumph. The Dawner's Triumph here, which is a new terrain piece, which is basically a nod to all of the fallen heroes who have died in battle. But because these are the kind of Dawnbringer Crusaders of the Cities of Sigmar, they march around. They basically are They don't have. Basically, they wanted to carry the memories of their fallen friends with them, so they made this kind of portable memorial, which is kind of cool, very cool. But wait, there's more. I told you that I thought this Age of Sigmar was the biggest reveal. You have Jorvan Creel, heir of the Kraken. So a rare noble ranger who actually fights amongst the armies. So he gains a lot of praise from his basically the people, basically the cities of Sigmar. They're normally a bit like nobles staying inside and not out here fighting. He's very much not that way inclined. So which is very, very cool. Which I think is cool. He's just like a roaming, very much giving me Aracorn style vibes. I get that, the whole ranger style of it. He's a great. He looks really great. I think it's a great sculpt. I think it's kind of interesting. He stood on the kind of like fallen ruins, which I think is kind of nice. Yeah, like burned out buildings. Like he's just going, "We will seek revenge" or whatever. I love the pet. He's a cat. Confirmed kitty cat. Confirmed kitty cat. Now coming to Age of Sigmar. Meow, meow. Which is very nice. His what do they call it? His Ash Panther Thexer. Paint as Milkshake. Yes, we were saying that on Wednesday night. We were like, we should paint this as Milkshake. Must paint as Milkshake. Like, do it. But yes. So very excited by this. It looks like a great sculpt. You then have the Malleus Forge Priest, who they don't show it here, but it has multiple head options. For some reason, it's not in the this article here, but they showed off multiple head options during the episode. So during the reveal, and it was really funny because both of the head options are him just sort of like, "Come at me, bro!" Ah! Looks like he's kind of always crying out like at the end of like a sermon. And he's just like, "Attack for Sigmar!" That sort of vibe. It's very, very cool. And Priest of Sigmar, yeah, why not? Why not? I love the fact that he's like, "I'm a battle priest. I've got a giant hammer, and I might forge you a weapon blessed by Sigmar, or I might just, force you into the ground with this big swing of a hammer." Then you have the Free Guild Gallants, who are incredibly heavily armoured Cities of Sigmar nobles. So these are people who are basically, they fight as part of a vanguard, and they are very, very, all of their money that they have earned has gone into making them the most bespoke and highly fancy looking pieces of armor. So whilst they are especially the Cities of Sigmar specialize in defense, these guys take it a step further by going like, we have this really fancy armor set. You can tell the guy on the right very much reminds me of like the Steel Rook a little bit, the Warhammer exclusive miniature from a while back. So yeah, the priest could be saying like, "Come and have a go if you think you're hard enough." He's like, "Come at me." Ah! But yeah, I like these. I like the guy at the front with this kind of almost like a griffin style armor, which looks really, really cool. He reminds me a little bit of Ornstein from Ornstein and Smaug in Dark Souls. I like that these are, like I said, just more heavily armored. They look really, really nice. It's very, very high medieval fantasy, and I'm kind of here for it. And they look great. They don't look like they'd be too out of place in an episode of Game of Thrones, which is very cool. Then there's the Free Guild Grenadiers, which are basically they're just a ranged version. They've got some nice armor, but not as detailed, not as fancy looking. But the Grenadiers or Grenadiers, however you want to call it, they've got these big axes and they've got these little like short multi-blunderbuss style weapons. Thanks to working with a little bit of a Duarden technology there. This guy is literally got a flamer. He's just like in the back. His back canister there is just filled with oils and ready to go, and he's just got this little torch at the end of it going, "Let's go." No hand eggs to throw. No, sadly not. Oh, no, there you go. There you go. Hand egg to throw. So they look very cool. I like the fact that a lot of these have just like a lot of personality to them. They look like they could be not chaosed up, but basically like, painted up and spliced in a little bit with some of the redemptionists for Necromunda, just to give a bit of variety. If you wanted to have them come from like the Ashki, realm of Ashki, the realm of fire, I feel like there's a lot of like a bit of fun you could do with those kit bashing and converting them. Trying to think what else. They're just very cool. Very, very cool. Then you have what have you got next? You've got the Battle Tome, Cities of Sigmar Battle Tome. We have had a lot of Battle Tomes so far in 2026 for Age of Sigmar, and yeah, it's quite a few. Then you have a Spearhead, a brand new Spearhead, which is Zenestra's Zealots. Cities of Sigmar got so much. Right here, so this comes with 10 Steel Helms, a Relic Envoy, a Free Guild Marshal, and the, what's her name, Zenestra herself on her Palanquin. There for you, so that's kind of cool. Then you have the Regiment of Renown, the Vendenced Hounds. So this combines the Warcry Hound box with the Vendenced, which is the kind of vampire hunters. So yeah, cool. It's very cool. The only thing not shown here, sadly, is they don't show the box that was in the video on the stream, where they showed the 4 cog forts. So basically, the Regiment of Renown, to take the 4 cohorts, is this squad. I think it was this squad with this mage and him. And then it's 4 cog forts. And that's your whole 2,000 point army. And I'm like, you know what? That sounds like a fun weekend of building and painting. 4 of these. Well, yes. But I'm sad they haven't shown the box in the article. But they showed the box on the video. So I was like, ooh. But yeah, which is kind of cool. Then, but wait, there's more. There's even more for Cities of Sigmar. Now, could you lose on VPs? I reckon so. I reckon there must be some sort of like depending on how like the mission type, there must be some sort of like caveat for running them in elite forces like that, I reckon. There's even more Cities of Sigmar because there is a brand new 2-player Spearhead box, which I like this format. You get 2 Spearheads, one for Cities of Sigmar and one for Skaven. There's some old models and some new models kind of combined in here, but this is the City of Ash, and it's designed that you get 2 of you and you play a game of Spearhead right out of the box. You get this cool set of Cities of Sigmar terrain. So this is kind of like, as you know, you don't need much terrain in Spearhead. It's normally like 2 or 3 pieces and then some scatter terrain. And this is hitting that mark exactly as what you need. You get a really cool playmat, which is dual-sided. So with Spearhead, basically they put the objectives onto the map for you. And then you get the rules for running both of these with some fun-themed decks to add some extra twists and plots to it. For like your objectives. The Skaven are all new models, I think. No, sorry, all but one is new models in here. These are all from Clan Eshin. So you start off with the first named Deathmaster. So Skaven are kind of cool. Their Deathmasters are unnamed assassins. They're only known as Deathmasters. This is Deathmaster Crixus, who is basically so good at being an assassin that effectively he's just like, yeah, this is who I am. He is not afraid to hide his identity. He wants his enemies to know about him, but he's like, I'm not afraid. But yes, it's very, very cool. He also single-handedly brought down an arcane silver tower with warpstone bombs under Bellacor's employ. That is no easy feat. And also to be able to have worked with Be'lakor and to walked away, it's kind of impressive. Very impressive. You also, on top of that, you get yourself new gutter runners. So if you're a fan of Clan Eshin, you finally get yourself some new gutter runners. And all of these are part of the Spearhead and also great for Skaven players. As well as gutter runners, you also get the night runners. So there's basically hierarchies in Clan Eshin, where if you're a gutter runner, I think you're one of the... If you're a night runner, you're at the lowest, and then you're a gutter runner, and it kind of basically you just get a slightly worse nickname the higher up the rankings you go. It's like, okay. But these are really cool. These are very, very cool. I mean, new Skaven models, I'm always hyped. They also kind of remind me that they look like they could be a Blood Bowl team. In terms of the fact that each model's got a lot of detail on them, as you get with Blood Bowl kits, and I'm kind of feeling that. The free guild side of it, though, it comes with all new models. You get the Lord Craven guy, the Priest, the Heavy Armored guys whose name I can't remember. And you get the Grenadiers. So you get all of this new stuff that they've just announced in this new Spearhead box. And that will be coming out fairly soon. I would like to know what your thoughts are. For anyone who plays Spearhead, I'm enjoying playing Spearhead at the minute. A 2-player kind of almost starter set for Spearhead. Is that something you think appeals to yourselves? If you've been like on the fence of trying it, or if you are someone who gets a lot of people to play Spearhead, do you think that's an interesting way to kind of give it a whirl? It's not a starter set per se, but it's just kind of two. Yeah. Bury the lead of the Skaven. Whoa. Skaven are awesome. Yeah, you mean like, because Yeah, Skaven are great. Or did you want more Skaven? Was that the whole point? It's like, which one do you want? I'm like, which one is it? And my brain is going blub 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 blub. Oh, you wanted more Skaven? So there we go. Sorry. Oh no, you did use it right. I am just very tired. Yeah, you buried the Skaven. You buried the lead with the Skaven. The Skaven are the lead, and you wanted more of them. Sorry, that's my brain is sleepy today. I think I still haven't quite bounced back from staying up as late as I did, because after I got off the stream on Wednesday, I then filmed all the content that I put out in the shorts, summarising it in under 3 minutes. So on Wednesday night to Thursday, between Thursday morning when I came off stream to Thursday morning when I woke up and went to work, I had 1 hour and 57 minutes of sleep. I think I'm still feeling the effects. It was even someone who sleeps as little as I do, it was still a little bit cutting it a bit too fine. Oh. That's okay, I was up 48 hours, just had a moment of notice me senpai, you used the wrong method. No, it was definitely me, That'll come out on the anniversary of the Skaventide release. Ooh, that'll be really cool. Isn't that when the new season starts and then ends the year with new AOS? I would imagine so. Because it would normally be if they do 40k this year, it normally means AOS is not far behind. It does blow my mind though that Age of Sigmar's fourth edition is quite old. It's nearly 3 years old. Well, it's nearly 2 years. It's just over 2 years old. Just under 2 years old at the moment. So if they follow the same suit, apparently, which is kind of interesting, but I suppose it's kind of about right. Unless they did an extra year of Age of Sigmar and they do something next year for like maybe a new start set for Old World instead of the one that's already out. Who knows? Could be interesting to see what happens there. Still no lizards. Maybe they're going to be the army in the new start set. I mean, we haven't had an Order versus Order box. There's normally 2 factions, isn't it, right? So we've had... Well, if they follow the same pattern, the next force will be Death. because it was Chaos versus Stormcast, then Stormcasters versus Death, well, versus Nighthaunt, and then Stormcast versus Cruel Boys. And then now Stormcast versus Skaven, so we're back to kind of the Chaos loop. So I'll be intrigued to know if we get a new one, maybe? If we get another Chaos Force, or if they do something different. They could do Order versus Order, even though they're all under the same faction. They're only united on the fact that they all hate Chaos. They're not aligned in any way. There's a lot of infighting that happens. Unless Spearhead is 6 monthly? I don't think it's 6 monthly. I think it is annually, isn't it? Because we had Fire and Jade. And then we had the new one, wasn't it? We had Fire and Jade. What was the next one? Sand and something? So this would be a... this is... I don't know if this counts as a new season or if it's just a new... I suppose it technically is. It's a new battle arena, isn't it? With new battle tactics. So maybe every like 9 months. If we're coming up to 2 years in and we've had 3 versions of it. So... Yeah, it was like Sand and Bone or something, wasn't it? I think. I can't remember what it's called. Sand and Bone. Hey, Esme, how are you doing? That was Sand and Bone. Yes. How are you doing, Esme? I hope you're doing well. But a big stretch. I was like, I'm fairly sure it was. I feel if you would know, you play a lot of Spearhead, Esme. Do you think is it 6 monthly the rotation, or is it a bit longer? I thought it was a bit longer. Maybe I've just not been paying that much attention. I'm trying to think what it was. It was. I know there was. I think we started with Fire and Jade, right? I think. Or was it the Scourge of Gyron? Was that Fire and Jade? What did we start with? I'm trying to remember what we started with. I have no idea. I'm assembling terrain while listening. Hell yes. Wait, remember, you're going to get movable terrain now. You're going to get the new cog forts. We've only had 2 so far. Okay, it was Fire and Jade and then Sand and Bone. Okay, so it probably sounds like, yeah, every year you get a new Spearhead. I don't think they need to release Spearhead rules as quick. I think I like the fact that they do Spearhead stuff in White Dwarf, and I like the fact that those then go on the website to download, which I think is very cool. But I like this idea of a 2-player starter set for it. I think it's very, very nice. Bear with me, I'm just going to either cough or sneeze. I didn't want you guys to hear that down the mic. Oh, I hope I'm not coming down with something. Oh no. No! No! No. Do. But yeah, cool. And then, of course, the big reveal, as they called it, kind of circling back to where we were at the start. I do think Cities of Sigmar got the biggest announcements because there was so much for it. But of course, there is a brand new edition of Warhammer 40k. They left it right till the very end. I honestly thought at the start, when they did the Armageddon book with Yarrick, I was a little part of me going, they're not going to announce a new edition. Like, they're not going to announce it because they've just released another Armageddon, a new campaign book. So I was like, we ain't getting one. And I was like, huh? And then right at the very end, they went, we're going back to Armageddon. It's a new edition. And it is an interesting overhaul of the rules. So the first thing to know, if anybody is hoping to pick up this new edition of Warhammer 40,000, the first thing is all of your codexes will be usable. So your codexes will be 100% playable right up until your new codex is released. So you are fine for your new codex. If you've just picked up a codex, you're good to use it. It's not a fundamental core change of the rules. There is just some stuff kind of happening to make things a little bit different to play. Which we'll go into more detail now about what they hinted about. One of the things that is going to happen on day 1 of the new edition, which will happen in June, they are going to drop 70 new detachments. There's actually going to be over 70, so it might even be 71. But there's going to be new detachments for every force that currently exists. And these detachments, they describe them as being not what you expect, giving a lot of love to models that didn't get a particularly lot of love or usage in the current 10th edition of 40k. So they're going to throw a little bit of love out there to some models that maybe have been neglected or have been kind of rules nerfed into the ground. Which I'm like, okay. Which is very cool. Do we think they'll drop this Primaris stuff now and go back to the Space Marine Astartes? I think it's been coming that way for a while. I don't think they'll eliminate Primaris. If you look at the rule sets, they've slowly been doing. It started off with Primaris models could only go in Primaris vehicles. In 8th edition. In 9th edition, there was a couple of Primaris models that could go in things like Land Raiders. And then it's kind of gone the other way where people can kind of go into each different vehicle. So I think what they're kind of doing is showing the slow progression of the Imperium, where they went, boom, here's your Primaris stuff, with all of this stuff at Belisarius Call's been done in the background with new technology. To show like the Imperium kind of at its height of like back up to almost Great Crusade level of strength. And then I think now what we're seeing is like not the downfall, but like the attrition kicking in. So now they've started to have to adapt to start using older vehicles. This is a really great example with this. They talked about how basically because they're running out of Mark X armor. Mark X armor is only for brand new Primaris Marines. They are now having to hodgepodge stuff. So this guy here has got a Mark 7 helmet. One of the shoulder pads on there is from, I think they said it was from like a Mark 6 armor or something. They're having to hodgepodge a bit and go, but this is just going to have to work. It wouldn't surprise me eventually if they then just become Space Marines. I think there's still too many firstborn characters for them to remove them entirely. But I think eventually it wouldn't surprise me if we go that way. For it. It was basically just a way to kind of true scale it. There's a really interesting new mechanic going back to the new rules. So now, when you take a detachment for your army, that determines what game you're playing. Which I think is really interesting. So say, for example, you take a very killy detachment. Right, so say you get a very killy detachment that's all about killing stuff in combat. And then your opponent is running a detachment which is all about shooting from far away. You will then basically look at the rulebook and you'll find the mission for somebody is running this detachment, someone is running this detachment, what's the mission that we're going to play? It will be basically determined that way. So you're always going to have a bit of an idea that, if I take a killy detachment, I'm going to be having some options here for, I'm going to have some objectives which are all about kind of killing. I'm not going to have objectives about shooting people, but if I've got a purely melee army. So I like the fact that they're kind of thinking about it, and it makes it a bit more narrative and a bit more rewarding as well. Like, I want to take, say for example, like one of my old Custodes army for 40k was all infantry. I had no bikes. I had them, I just didn't run them very often. So I like the fact that I would almost be playing a mission where I get rewarded for that. Or my objectives relate to that. Whereas, it could be like my, it just sounds really interesting. The detachment will kill. So basically the new Marines are getting their brothers' hand-me-downs. That's basically it. I mean, if you've got millions of sets of armor in the background, in storage, I imagine there was all of those Mark 6, Mark 7 sets of armor definitely still exist in storage. The biggest change, which I feel like I was like, I can see it coming, is no more circles, they're calling it. No more circles. Round objective markers are no longer a thing. So they are not a thing. You are now going to be fighting over terrain. You are now going to be fighting over terrain. So effectively, key locations, relics, or fortifications. So there's going to be sets of objective markers that are basically, this is terrain, you got to fight over it. They wanted it to be a bit more thematic and narrative to, you don't really stand on a circle and go, I'm going to hold this 9-inch circle. That's what my army has to do. So effectively there is now going to be like you have to basically hold this building and you have to hold it on like all 3 floors or something to get like certain victory points. And the building is the objective, which takes me back to the idea that I think that we're going to see terrain destruction rules baked into the game. Which I'm very excited for. Very excited. And you know what? I'm saying I called this. I said this when they announced Iron Warriors. I went, the new edition's going to be a big focus on terrain. The new edition is going to have a massive focus on terrain. I called it terrain. The terrain rules, I've seen a big shake-up. The default bonus for cover now impacts hit rolls, not saves, and units are generally far easier to hide than they previously were. Woo, woo! And I think that makes more sense. I don't think you should get a bonus save if you're stood in a building. I think you should be harder to hit. That makes a lot more sense to me, because it doesn't improve your armor being in a building. It just means that the bullet might not reach you if it strays off and hits a wall. So I think that makes more sense. They did talk about now as well, there is going to be a new rule. Hey, Haggis Hunter, thank you for the follow. Welcome on in. I hope you are well. Did that sound alert come through? I didn't hear the sound alert. My alert box, are you okay? I was like, I hope it did. That's a really funny sound alert, that one is. I've not had that one come up yet. I set that ages ago. I'm hoping so. I'll have to find out. But welcome on in. Thank you for the follow. I hope you're well. But yeah, so that's a big update for terrain sets. They also said there's going to be some new rules. It might be in a paragraph further down. But now, basically, you're going to be... It's easier to hide your models. So basically, if you're in a building, it's not like, oh, I know you're in the building, but I can see you. It's going to basically be like, you know, the building is now protecting me. It's not like a lot of people were like, oh, it's a ruin, I can shoot through a ruin. Nah, you can actually hide behind a building now, which I think is very cool. It's harder to charge people around a building. They also said that there is going to be a rule. They said this in the video, and it's not in this article. There is a new rule, which means that if your models didn't move or shoot, so if you stood completely still, you can now not be shot by an enemy unit that is more than 15 inches away. Which is massive when you think about that, especially in turn 1. So basically in turn 1, if basically you now effectively can't get shot off the board in turn 1. They're like, no, this is going further. So that's what's going to kind of be happening. So this is the Alpha Strike restriction. I'm not familiar with the Alpha Strike. Is that a stratagem or something? I've not played a lot of 10th, so apologies if I'm missing that one. Because at the minute there's certain rules where you get bonuses. You can't be shot within like certain ranges, isn't it? But like 9, maybe 12 inches, or you get bonuses to your save, or minuses to the to hit for certain things. This is now basically going to be a blanket rule of, nope, can't shoot someone if they're more than 15 inches away and they didn't do anything. It's effectively the Drax restriction. They're standing so imperceptibly still that the enemy believes that they are invisible. So Alpha Strike is the name given to the shooting the opponent off the board. Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool. So effectively that's not going to be a thing now. So I think what's really good about that is it means that deployment, while still important, is not the deciding factor of the game. Because that is fundamentally one of the things, isn't it? There's the fact that basically if you misdeploy, that's it. You will know there and then if you're going to win or lose the game. So, whereas this now gives you that kind of slight extra layer of protection, so you're still going to get to go to turn 2 at the very least. Which I'm like, you know what, that's cool. There's other stuff that's actually not in this article either, which I thought is worth letting you know. So the first thing is, you will now no longer be allowed to stack stratagems. So, you will only be able to use one stratagem per phase. You now cannot stack them at all, and there will be further restrictions where you're only allowed to use certain types of stratagems once per turn, or once per battle round. And they said basically this is one of the biggest complaints that they had from people, was that people would save up all their command points, and they would make it so that they would then spend in turn 3 or end of turn 2, and they would spend 5 or however many command points they've gained extra, make one of their units an absolute indestructible bomb unit that has rerolls to hit, rerolls to wounds, it can reroll its charges, has a bonus to its invulnerable save, has transhuman physiology, and then that just wipes you out on the board, and that's just not fun. So they've gone, there's going to be a lot more restrictions around stratagems now for it, which I'm like, hey, that sounds cool. Sounds like the game's going to be a little bit more on, could go either way, rather than just go, somebody's thought about the best way to stack everything on an already hard to kill unit, and now they're just going to make it almost impossibly hard to kill, or statistically improbable to kill is probably the right word. They have also changed pile-in and consolidation, so consolidating and pile-in now happen simultaneously. So you now basically you will now consolidate and pile in at the same time. So that's to stop the daisy chain effects, because one of the things that happens is there's a way to basically, if a unit piles in, consolidates, then piles in, you have an opportunity then to use a stratagem, which means that they can fight again. And effectively, you just lock your opponent into this never-ending battle of like, well, in your combat phase, I've killed your whole army. It's not really the fun way to play. And there was another thing around that. Oh, and combat as well. There's been changes to the charging. Charge was a massive change. Right, okay, so charging now is you don't pick your targets of who you're charging until after you've rolled, which is massive. That's a huge change. So the way charging works now and has done for a few editions is basically, so let's do a little demo on the tabletop, shall we? So let's go with the Jarlamander, this guy here. So I have got, so the Jarlamander would like to charge. So that's what we've got so far. So the Jarlamander here would like to charge. And as it stands at the moment, I would have to pick a target and then roll my dice. And then I either make the charge or I don't make the charge. So most people pick the closest target because they don't want to fail the charge and have like a bad move in combat. That's kind of the downside of it, right? So say this is you're logically going to pick this guy. However, now what the way it's going to work is you are going to go, right, my Jarlamander here, Sergeant Winks, is going to charge. I will roll my 2d6. I will then go, awesome, I actually rolled a 12, which means I can make this charge. I'm going to charge this unit. It's a massive change because it's a really good quality of life change. And I'm here for it. I'm really here for it and how that works. So the fact that you now have this option to kind of go, the only thing I can charge is this really, because that was it. People were getting really good at, and it's not penalising people for being good at the game, but what people were kind of doing was, say for example, I've got these two Chaos Tau models here. This guy will, say this is a squad of, there's a 3-man squad here of Chaos Tau. But I have strategically positioned my Abaddon the Despoiler to be closer to the Jarlamander. Which means that the Jarlamander really has only one choice, which is to charge Abaddon, which means he'll get absolutely eviscerated in combat. Whereas now, I have the opportunity to go, I'm going to roll the dice, because there is a chance I could charge this unit. Because realistically, if you were like 12 inches away, but you were, like, let's say this is the charge, for the setup, for example, I'm over here. Say that's 11 inches away, and that's only a 5-inch charge. You're going to take the 5-inch charge or not charge. But if you don't charge, they're just going to charge you in their turn. So, what you can now do is you can now go, I'm going to roll the dice, and I don't have to choose this model. If I don't get wrong, if I still rolled a 5, I would go, oh, well, I'm going to charge Abaddon and try and lock it into combat. But you might actually get that 11 or 12, and you might be able to go, yee, over here, where you can do some damage. And I think that's a fantastic quality of life change. Really, really nice quality of life change for that. Obviously, we'll know more. This is only based on what they discussed in the reveal and combined with what they've put on the article. But that's how they were describing it, and I think that's really, really cool. That certainly changes how you'd set up your counter charges, I would think. I agree. I think it makes the game a little bit more... It could go either way at the flip of a coin. You know, although in this case, the roll of a dice. Versus, you know, kind of a... You can normally know by the end of turn 2 who's got the win. You know, sort of thing. So I like the fact there's a little bit more options here where it could go one way or the other. What was the other ones as well? So we covered the no shooting if you haven't moved. You can't shoot an enemy unit that hasn't moved if they're more than 15 inches away from you. We covered the change to circles. Circles are disappearing for objective markers. The terrain rules are getting a massive shake-up. I'm hoping for destructible terrain. That's what I've been wanting since they announced Iron Warriors. I've wanted destructible terrain. Talked about pile-in and consolidation now happen simultaneously. Fast rolling dice. Fast rolling dice. Hey, Rusty, how are you doing? I hope you're doing good. How are we? So the fast rolling dice rule is what people know, and most people by default do fast rolling dice, right? And what that means for anyone who's maybe not sure is the rules in Warhammer are basically, if you're rolling 5 attacks that are, so you've got 5 attacks, and they're all the same strength and they're the same AP. You roll 5 dice together. Whereas technically the official rules are you would roll those dice one at a time. But nobody does it because it means the game takes forever, and if I'm perfectly honest, when I've played people who do that, it's because they're stacking the rolls. They're going, I'm gonna make this attack. I'm gonna make I've killed your guy now, which means I'm gonna now do this stratagem, which means that I can choose to change my attack, and because the attacks don't happen all at the same time, it's rolling 1 dice at a time, I can do this ability. So there's that kind of thing that happens. They are changing it now, so fast rolling dice is a standard. So they're officially going to be changing the rules that in certain situations, especially dealing damage, so damage is the big one that happens with this. What people were doing is they were going, and this is going to sound weird, they were going, right, okay, let's use the Abaddon, for example. Go back to the Abaddon example. So, Abaddon here is in combat, right? He deals his damage, and you have Drachnien, which does 2 attacks but hits really hard. And then you have the Talon of Horus, which doesn't hit as hard but does lots of attacks. So what people were doing is they were basically going, oh, I've got my damage now. I'm gonna roll the low attack first. Or I'm gonna roll the heavy hitter first, because damage would spill over for whatever reasons from different attacks. You know, they would do that. So they would go, I'm going to roll 1 die. Oh, look, I killed your captain. So I'm going to put the rest of the damage from Draknir now in to kill the rest of this unit. Or they might go the other way, where they go, I've got to get through this big bulk of units, so I'm going to put all my small attacks into them. And I actually kill each one by rolling the dice one at a time, because I get very lucky. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's the thing. There were people who were doing that. There is nothing wrong with it. They are playing the game. Fundamentally, that was it. But they've kind of acknowledged that that's not really fun. It's not great for it. So they are going to be changing the rules that now when dealing damage, fast rolling dice comes into effect. So it's always been an informal rule that's been in the rulebook to go, where possible, do your your fast rolling dice. You would roll, right, I've got 10 attacks, I'm going to roll all 10 at the same time. These 2 blue dice are for my power sword. These 8 red dice are for my are for my chainswords. Okay, all 10 hit. Oh no, onto wound, I lost one of the blue dice and one of the red dice, so I now only have 8 dice remaining. And what you could do when you were dealing damage is basically, okay, damage roll for like D6 damage or D whatever damage. There was ways to kind of by following the letter of the rules. For example, by following the rules as written, and this is it, nothing is technically wrong with what was happening. It meant that you would have to roll your damage dice one at a time. That is technically it, but nobody ever did because we all want to play the game fast. So they are now making it as standard because there was a lot of ways to manipulate that. You could roll low power attacks in your favor or high power attacks in your favor against select targets. It was an interesting thing. It was very much an edge case, but they've now turned around and gone, we're just going to make fast rolling dice for dealing damage the norm. I'm tired and slightly stressed. Oh, sorry to hear that, Rusty. Jack had his blood test today and is sulking around all but her. Oh no! Well, hopefully everything's okay, or do you have to wait a few days for the result? Since seconds, 99% sure the rolls were made by weapon/BS. I'm confused by the explanation now. So basically, let me get a better visual example up on my board. Let me just get the thing. So I'm just re-downloading the 40k app because I haven't used it in a while. What do I not have? Oh, darn it. So I'm just trying to get an example here. Okay, so the example in this use case is, so basically, effectively what would happen here, so say this is Illuminor Seras, goes into combat, they have 2 weapons, and the rules were basically, rather than pick one weapon and that weapon attacks, they changed it for a while where basically you do, you attack with every weapon that has, unless it says otherwise. So he could attack with his Eldritch Lance, which is a strong weapon, which does -3 AP and 3 damage, or he could do his Impaling Legs. So this is the guy. He gets the option to basically stamp and swing his lance. It was basically how it would work. And now by basically, he goes into combat, and effectively what would happen here is you go, right, so the rules as written are at the moment, is all attacks happen simultaneously, and then you allocate damage per weapon, is kind of how it works. Is what the official kind of rules really were for. I'm probably explaining this very badly. So effectively, I go into a model and I go into something, and I'm in there's a sergeant in the squad who has an invulnerable save. Oh, no, sorry. There's a sergeant in the squad who has an extra wound. And they have, say, maybe 4 wounds in the squad. They've taken no damage. So they've taken no damage at all. And so the way the game works is if you started applying a wound to that character, they then have to take every wound until that model is dead. So what was happening is basically by the letter of the rules, say I got 7 attacks with my impaling legs, but I got 2 attacks through with my Eldritch Lance. So I know that I can kill 7 models who have no armor save, because they've got a 6-up armor save and I've got a -1 to their AP, and they do 1 damage. So there's 7 models in the squad, except for 1 sergeant who is in the squad who happens to have an extra wound and a 6-up invulnerable save. So what was kind of happening there is basically people were figuring out that they could go by the rules. They could go, I roll my damage 1 dice at a time. So they kind of go, okay, I'm gonna roll this hit first, and see if I can get it through. And go, or they do 1 damage. So this was the one. They roll 1 damage. That person goes, oh, I'm going to take that wound on my sergeant. Yeah. So you go, I'm going to take that wound on my sergeant. So they then go, oh, okay, I'm now going to roll my damage for my Eldritch Lance, knowing full well that that person is not going to get a save, and I can kill it, and then I can kill the rest of the squad. This is very edge case. But technically what they were doing is there's nothing wrong with those rules. They are following the damage allocation rules, and they are following it here. Now, the way that the game has always been played, or been intended, is when you open up any Warhammer 40k rulebook, right on the front there is a section called Fast Rolling Dice. And what that effectively means is that if you're rolling X amount of attacks for it, you can do fast rolling dice, which means that you roll 10 attacks rather than roll 1 dice and go 1 at a time. So you go, right, that damage goes through. Okay, you take 1 wound from that one. This is everything's d6 damage. That one's 3. That one's 4. That's another 1. That's another 1. Like you basically, instead of doing that, the fast rolling dice explains that when you're making a large amount of attacks or dealing damage in that over the same type, people will get all 10 dice and roll all 10 at the same time. And that is you don't have to, but fast rolling dice is what you may see a lot of people playing. It's always been an informal rule that's been on the first few pages of the rulebook. It's not been an actual rule. So think about it from 2 perspectives on this one. I don't have to roll all my dice at once. The advantage for that is that if I don't roll them all at once, I can be a little bit more tactical with how I allocate damage. Because I might get lucky and roll 1 dice and go, oh, that did d6 damage, so that kills that, so I'm now going to roll the rest of my dice. Or you could get massively unlucky and go, I'm going to roll, if I rolled all 10 of my dice at once and go, well, that's a d6, because of the fast rolling dice rules, somebody could turn around and go, because of the informalness around it, they could say, okay, well, I'm going to take, I've got say 6 wounds on my model. Rather than take the 6 damage, I'm going to take 5 of the single damages and then take the 6 damage to kill my model. And there is technically nothing wrong with that. There is in the rules, there is nothing stopping you from doing that. But from a player perspective, it's a bit rubbish, because you go, well, no, the damage that would have done 6 would have decapitated your captain, and then in the fallout of that happening, all of the rest of the squad panic to see their beloved captain's head get severed from his shoulders, and in the panic, they fail to block the other 6 individual wounds going through and killing 3 more men who have 2 wounds each. If that would be what happens. Whereas technically, because fast rolling dice wasn't a rule, it was an informal way of speeding up the game. that person could go, well, I'm only going to take 5 single wounds on my captain and then takes 1 fatal hit of 6 wounds, meaning that you'd only have 1 extra wound to spill over. And that has been the case, not just for 10th edition. That's been the case for a while. That's been the case for a couple of editions. That's been the way, and it's always been, and I'm going to break my own rule here kind of a little bit. It's always been a bit of a dick move when someone does that. It's kind of one of those, they're not technically doing anything wrong, but they're probably not someone you'll play again. So the fact that they've now turned around and they're going to say, actually, fast rolling dice will now be a rule, not an expectation, does shift that. It's going to go for the better and for the worst for different people, because that's the kind of way it is. But that's part 1. Part 2 is also time. If you are, so say for example, you're in a tournament, and this isn't the putting anything bad on competitive players. Anybody playing competitively won't do this, at a high level won't do it. You're talking mid-table people here. So somebody might be, I might be able to make it into the top 32, which is not irrelevant, isn't the right word, but if you're going 2 wins and a draw is going to get you into the top 32, you're not going to be one of the people who gets to the final because you're not going to go 3-0, 4-0 or anything like that. You might get place high, but yeah, and if there's prize support and things like that, it's just kind of the way it works. It's just a numbers game, right? You might get lucky, but it's not impossible, but it's improbable. However, from a time-wasting point of view, there's absolutely nothing wrong with me going, I'm going to hit you now with my Gatling cannon. My Gatling cannon does 4d6 attacks. Okay, I've got 24 attacks coming your way. I'm going to roll each and every one of these one at a time. There is nothing in the rules that would disqualify you from that match, but it will eat up 10 minutes of the game round. Because again, fast rolling dice is an informal expectation, not a rule. Is that making sense? I feel like I'm maybe I don't know if I'm making sense on that one, but it's such an edge case for it. But in the rule books, it always says fast rolling dice is something you will see, but you don't have to. So it sounds like they're now going to go, yes. But if you ever applied a multi-attack to a model with more than 1 mood, any excess damage was always lost. Exactly. And that's the problem. That was the problem, what people were doing. Behaviour like that is not sporting, hence call a judge and we get a sharp shift for wasting time, no. But here's the thing. The rules would dictate that if they wanted to, they could roll those dice one at a time. There was no rule, and it's not unsporting. Because it sucks, but they're not doing anything against the rules. Time wasting maybe differently, but if they can, time wasting is a valid point, But effectively, they would have to really drag it out. But technically, in the rules, there was nothing stopping them from doing that, if that makes sense. So, but it wasn't a rule, Corvus. That's what I'm saying. It's not a rule. It was almost like a friendly way of speeding up the game. I think I've got my Leviathan book to kind of show you. I'll show you. It was never a rule, and that's the problem. Where's my book? Oh. Hold on, let me get my Leviathan book, and I'll show you how it's written. Sorry, it took me a while to get it. So, and this is going back to, I've got a 4th edition rulebook here. So 4th edition rulebook, and I've got a Leviathan. And we know, and I know and you know, as someone playing the game, it's always been this thing of like, rules as intended. But it's never been like an official rule about fast rolling dice. It's just been, where are we at? It's normally at the front. It's one of the first couple of pages it will say about fast rolling dice. Where are we at? Let me find it here. Where's the rule book? Order of battle. Crusade. So I'm just trying to find the exact section for it. Where's it gone? I'll find it eventually. See if I can find it in here somewhere. Where is it? Measuring distances, core concepts. Let's see if I can find where it's at. There's already a section in here called fast rolling dice. It was always in this sort of section, like hints and tips. It was more like a designer's commentary. So it was never an enforceable rule. There you go. Hints and tips, dice rolling. So this is what it was under. So it's a hint and tip. So it talks about if a dice doesn't lay flat, it's cocked. Many gamers roll their dice somewhere on the battlefield or roll it into a dice tray. You'll be opponents will be rolling and re-rolling lots of dice. It's good to practice how to roll the dice. Where are we at? Rolling an out of bounds dice. There you go. It is more common for players to roll the dice. Where are we at? That's cock dice. Where is that? Sorry, it was in somewhere like that. Basically, that was it. So, and that's what it was, even going back to like 4th edition. I think it was under damage. Let me find it on here. We know it. I know it. You know it. That when you're playing together, you know, you fast roll dice, don't you? Because that's just it makes the game go quicker. And I love the idea of rolling. I've got 60 dice to roll, and you've got this big handful of like, let's go, and you roll all the dice. We know that that's the way, and that's the rules as intended. But because it was never technically a rule, it was always one of those. I'm in ads. I'm not arguing on it. I'm trying to find it. I'll wait for you to get out of ads. You're back. Oh yeah, I know you're not arguing. I think I was just trying to make sure I was explaining it properly. Do not worry about that one. But that's the thing. What I'm saying is that I know it and you know it. That when we do it, it's always intended to be. You know. Again, it comes back to that rules as intended, rules as written, or in this case, not a rule written down at all. And I think that's the thing. And I'm not saying competitive players did this. I'm making a very big point. I'm not saying. I would say it's the sort of thing you would see at tournaments by certain people. So, yeah, that's kind of it. So, it's one of those things, isn't it? It's just very much a case of, like, this has been a problem that hasn't really been a problem. But in 10th edition, 9th and 10th edition, they changed how damage is now allocated. So for a couple of editions, it was as me as the attacker, I got to choose where the damage went. And then it shifted to me as the person receiving the damage, I can choose which models I want to assign my damage to. And it kind of flickered back and forth for a while. So I think they've just kind of gone, I'd love to know what the actual rule is going to be. But effectively, it says on here, there's going to be changes to fast rolling dice for dealing damage. So... And that's kind of it. Like, we know it as all players. I think this is one thing that's always hard for sometimes to get across is we know it as good people, if that makes sense. We know it as good as people who just want to go to a table, chat with some people who love their hobby, and roll a ridiculous amount of dice and have a laugh. We are the majority in that case, and we know what they mean. There is just sometimes there was a minority who realized this was a way to help them, to statistically help them, and they were not technically doing anything wrong. So it sounds like GW have just gone, we're going to close that loophole. And they're going to basically probably, I would imagine they're going to refine it to be, you must roll all damage dice simultaneously. They then go into a pool of wounds. Those wounds are now allocated to the model that's damaged, which is what it always was. And for us, we will not notice a single bit of difference. But for those small percentage who were being a bit of a, actually, I'm able to do this. That small percentage will now have that taken away from them. So, yeah. But yeah, anyway, catching back up. Where are we at here? So behaviour like that, yeah, would be not sporting, time wasting. We cover that. So reminds me of 2nd edition. In those days, models with swords could parry attacks. Parry the 6, you say? Anyway, where was I? Oh yes, the important thing was that swords could parry, which was the style at the time. Yes. I will admit, I read my 10th edition book once, saw the core mechanics are pretty unchanged, and went out to play for a few months, then kind of fell out of love with it. A similar vein for me. I don't think there was anything wrong with 10th edition. I just don't think I clicked with it. And that's me. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And I think I was having more fun playing Spearhead. So I just played more Spearhead. I'm very excited to come back. The changes sounds like they're making in 11th edition weren't the reason I weren't playing, but they definitely sound like things that I'm going to get me a bit more into it. I think with 10th edition for me was a bit like when they did 8th edition. It was a little bit more simple. And if I'm perfectly honest, as somebody who, when you went from, most of the time when I was playing the game, I knew the core fundamental rules were the same. I knew how to read a data sheet, I knew how to play. There might have been some changes, like when they got rid of initiative, didn't really make that much of a difference for me. They sort of switched a few things around, but I could still play the game. 10th edition was such an overhaul with OC, with changes, and how your models were built, how your list was built differently. I honestly just didn't have time to sit and learn that. In the limited time I had to actually go and play a game, I would spend more time trying to figure out the rules than it would be to play. And that's just why, for me, as a much more casual gamer and player, it was just not the one for me. I admit I'm gonna have to redo that now, but because this sounds a little bit more narratively played with the terrain rules, the fun new detachments, the detachment choosing your mission type, I'm intrigued enough to give it a bit more of a whirl. So I feel that was just me. My time constraints conflicted with me playing 10th. I don't think it was necessarily a bad game. See, that's why I think AOS and 40k need something like the old page 3 of War Machine. It's a page that lays out the social contract for playing a war game. So no touching models without permission, don't be rules lawyers, lose valiantly and win graciously, and so forth. Oh, funnily enough, there was a section in the Leviathan book about that. Now you mention that, there was a section called... where's it gone? The Spirit of the Game, it was called. So, the Spirit of the Game. But it was a footnote in the bottom of the book. So, it was very much... Let's make sure I'm not going to break anything. So, it just said here... At its heart, Warhammer 40,000, the Warhammer 40,000 game, and indeed the entirety of the wider hobby, is an interactive shared experience. There is no single-player mode, no faceless AI to outwit. Instead, during a game, you will play against one of your friends across the tabletop, or perhaps a potential friend if attending a tournament. While the Warhammer 40,000 setting is especially grim, frequently cruel, and beset by ruthless warriors, the game's most fulfilling when played with a spirit of friendly openness and polite cooperation. There will usually be one person who wins a game, but everybody has fun, and when there are no special abilities suddenly sprung on unknowing players. While they congratulate opponents' seemingly unlikely dice rolls and commiserate the destruction of a newly painted squad, As you pack your miniatures away or share a drink with your opponent afterwards, there are a few things as enjoyable as regaling each other with the most exciting moments in your gaming, or imagining that it's only the last model I had managed to do. Similarly, many people who enjoy building and painting their miniatures together too, whether this will be at a friend's house, a Warhammer store, or a local gaming club, or virtually via the internet. That's like us. Even if you prefer building and painting and relaxing your solidarity as a pastime, there's a huge supportive community of fellow hobbyists out there who share ideas and suggest paint schemes and ask for modelling advice and blah blah blah. So there was a spirit of the game section which basically was just like, be nice. But it didn't cover stuff like that on page 3. I reckon wouldn't have surprised me if they put something in the next book. I would imagine so. They would put something like that in there. I could imagine they would. I agree with that one. The fun is the fistful of dice going flying. I 100% agree. There is so much fun when you've got like handfuls of dice to go. Let's go! I remember seeing the most insane luck I've ever seen. So basically, this roll of armor saves would determine if somebody won or somebody lost. And this is very much a case somebody had to make 19 out of 20 5-up invulnerable saves. If they made all 19 out of 20 of them, they wouldn't lose, and they would therefore win the game on their next turn because of how the scoring system went. Like, I was literally, and we were all crowded around the table seeing how they did it, and they grabbed all 20 dice and went, come on! And they rolled, and I kid you not, some miracle, 26s. It wasn't even like it was 5-ups. They rolled 26s, and we were just like, what? And it was like, it was so funny. We just couldn't believe it. We were just like, what? And it was like everyone erupted in like the what? And even the guy who had then now lost the game was like, I can't argue with that. It was so funny. It was so much fun. It was one of them where you just like, and the guy is just like, and you know when there's that moment where something really like something really like exceptional happens, and your brain goes, play it cool, just be chill, and make it look like you do this every day. And when inside you're going, like that. Yeah, there was none of that because every single person around the table was just like, oh! It was so funny. It was so funny. And that's what I love about the game. The probability or improbability of something happening and it happening is so much fun. So much fun. I like the terrain thing now. Everything on the table looking a bit same is a bit stale. Yes, it feels like the urban combat. We know battles will happen in a variety of locations. I fully agree. I'm so happy that terrain is going to be a major part now. I'm really a big fan of that. Ooh, most of the Dark Elf kits are sold out online. Are they? Order. Daughters of Cain. Wait, they're not even there. Are they under Old World? No. Wait, they're gone. Oh, interesting. They're not under like order like. They don't fall under Cities of Sigmar, do they? At the bottom of there, because they used to be under like the. Oh, there you go. Assassin, Sorceress under Cities of Sigmar. But they're the only two. Interesting. Ooh. Oh no, they're gone now. They are fully gone. Whoa. Ooh, interesting. Well, we kind of got the impression that they were going to slowly phase out anything that fell under the free guilds, wasn't it? Eventually. These were all going to be phased out. It's wild to think these are the only two remaining, the Sorceress and the Assassin. Interesting. Look at them square bases. Look at them square bases looking awesome. Hell yeah. Where are we at? The number of times I've rolled a 6 and the guy, like 1% of the dice is slightly crooked, and that guy is like, that's crooked, roll it again. My favourite response to that, and I always stand with it because it was in the 5th edition rulebook, is the 5th or the 7th edition rulebook. there was a rule which was, and I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. Let me grab a dice. And did your opponent state that the dice was cocked? It's like, how one surefire way to make sure that the dice is or isn't cocked, so say if it was like that, is because sometimes it may not physically be able to for it to land entirely on its one side. So the rules are simple. If you can balance a dice on it without the dice falling over, it is not cocked. And that is my go-to rule if somebody ever does that to me. So in that case, say if that was it, and they were like, say if that was a 6, and they were like, oh, that's not 6 because the dice is cocked, I would go, and say it was just a bump in the tufts. It's not like a base propped here, it's just a bump in the tufts. I'd go, oh, okay, let me quickly check. I can balance the dice on it, it's not cocked. Because I feel like there's an undisputed thing there for it. Like, I can balance the dice on it. And I've used that before when judging games. I've gone up and gone, can you balance a die on it? I can't? Okay, that's cocked. Or, can I balance a die on it? I'm intentionally balancing it funny here. Yeah, go, cocked. So that would now be cocked. So I always thought that was a good way to do it, if that helps. That's how I've always determined it. The only reason characters join users was for ablative wounds. Right, that was it. Yeah. Sadly, one thing has become clear to me over the last 3 years. I no longer have the mental faculties for the GW games now. I need games that are easy to learn. The difficulty comes in working out how to master it. I think that's the case, like, why I enjoy Spearhead and Combat Patrol so much. Because they are very simple and easy to... And it's because I don't really have time in the evenings to go and play a 2,000 point game. If I was playing those games every other week, I would 100% have the rules for it. I would have the capacity for it, but I just don't. Unfortunately, I just don't. So, yeah. And that's not a reflection on Games Workshop, that's a reflection on my time. I am very aware I probably do... No, what's the word for it? More of my time goes in as a hobbyist than it does as a gamer. That's the way it is. I'm fine with that. Hey Artemis, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. We have been going through the Adepticon rules. We are just talking about the new upcoming rules for the new edition of 40k. Sorry, I know I've fallen behind very much in chat in my ranty talk about dice. No worries, Rusty. Catch you later, my friend. You get yourself some sleep, and we will see you soon. If it helps sell it, Jarek, the CEO of Archon StarCraft, is quite passionate about making the game balanced and always enjoyable with no point of return. Oh, that's really cool, without a no point of return. I like that idea. I have to admit, I have been slightly tempted to pick up some of the StarCraft stuff. Slightly tempted. Wait, that's the channel logo. It is indeed. Many moons ago, we had a selection of dice for the channel that you could claim by redeeming channel points, or you could win a certain color of them if you won it on a wheel spin. And basically, the company I used to make the dice, we did a whole big, massive kind of like, this was the start of 2024. No, 2023. 2023. Back in 2023, we did a big thing in the Discord where we got everyone to vote on colours. So people were able to basically choose colours they wanted to see the dice in. We got everyone to vote, and the intention was that dice colour that everybody voted for would be available for everybody to either win on giveaways or redeem with channel points, just for 2023. And then when 2023 ended, we picked a new colour. So everybody voted for the colours. I think the colours were... What won the vote? I think it's still in the Discord somewhere. I'll try and remember what it is. We picked the colours. Everybody voted for it. There was a big vote. Everyone got involved. I then spent a lot of money. I had a lot of money. This was around the time I wasn't working. I was redundant. I was doing this full time. I pretty much emptied the stream bank account. And ordered, I basically spent a lot of money. Ordered from the place I've been ordering all these dice from, a load of dice, and they never turned up. I ended up going through this massive, big PayPal dispute that I'm not going to go into anymore. and basically never got the money back. And as a result, I got very sad about doing anything to do with dice again. So I've never thought about bringing. I have thought lots about bringing the dice back, but I haven't quite figured out where to do it. I've spoken to a few different suppliers, but they either couldn't do this funky marble pattern, which looks a little bit like baked beans, and then what's it called? But it was either going to be like a solid color, or the closest I got is someone had a marbled color like this, so it looked kind of like the channel, like it looked like baked beans, but they could only do it with black pips. And I ordered a prototype dice set, and I just wasn't a fan of the black pips. The white pips were much easier to read. So yeah, so there was channel dice that were available for a long time. I've got all the colors actually. We did a Christmas set. We did bonus sets. Let me get all the colors. I'll show you them. Yep. So we've got. This is my giant dice bag. I bought this as a giant dice bag from one of the many Nintendo stores in Japan, because it's basically Link's rupee wallet. It's huge, like head for scale. This dice bag is massive. But yeah, I'll put it down, you can hear the weight of this dice. And you know what the fun part is? Do you know what's inside this dice bag? You guys ready for this? You wanna know what's inside this dice bag? Are you ready? Are you ready? It's another dice bag. You weren't expecting that, were you? Hey! And do you know what's inside this dice bag? Are you ready? Are you ready for what's inside this dice bag? It's not more dice. This is all of my my spin down counters for Magic the Gathering. This is all my spin down counters for Magic. Also, this dice bag is the one that these are the ones made by Verity that are available on the website. So yeah, and there's in here is basically my spin down counters for Magic, because they're not true D20s; they go down in order. So they're great for tracking life and things, and a small selection of tiny D6s. So some of these you might actually see, you might recognize some of them. Where's it gone? There was a small one in here. So some of these small D6s are really useful for like token tracking. This dice is actually from a set that was, I've got the rest of them in here. This was a Games Workshop set of dice, very specifically. You guys remember this, where each one of these dice was in a cube of 25 dice, each one aligned to one of the Chaos Gods. So that was the Slanesh dice. That was the Nurgle, that was the Zeech, and that was the Cornate dice. You used to buy these in a little little black plastic cube, which was also a giant D6, and you got 25 of these plus a scatter dice, I think it was. And these were the original sizes for GW dice. So I keep those in there, which are really useful. But outside of that, yay! There you go, wasn't it? One of my spin downs just fell out. So there you go. This is all of my various hobby dice. All the different colours that we did. Let me grab. Let me grab one of each. So we did. There's the original. The original ones. Where the hobby channel logo. And there was a 6, and the one was just normal. That was the original orange. We then did a blue set to flesh out the channel colours. So we did the blue set. We then did a Christmas giveaway for a Christmas painting palooza. So there's not many people who have these. Which was, we did a red and green. So if you won the painting Palooza, if you came first or second, you got a set of these dice. Three red, three green. These were these are very rare. There's not many of these around. We then had where are we at? Let's get the other colours. We did a Halloween set, which was like a toxic goo. We did a Halloween toxic goo set. That was again for another Painting Palooza prize. So it was like a toxic goo. We then had where have we got? We did a monochromatic set. So I'll say monochromatic. We did black and white. Black and white sets. And I think, if my knowledge is correctly, I only think one person has the black, and I don't think anyone else apart from me has the white. I think Book has the black set, if memory serves. I might be wrong. Then, there's more. There's more. Where are we at? Where have we gone? There is 3 sets that I know only one person has. And I am that one person. Actually, that's not true. So there is a yellow set, which went to Scrot. Scrot won the yellow set. And it was very fitting because he's an Imperial Fist painter. He was painting a lot of Imperial Fist. So Scrot, I believe you have the yellow set, if I remember rightly. Then we have... where is it gone? That's not the right colour. I grabbed the wrong colour. The incredibly asked for. This is a bit of an odd set. This was a highly requested colour set that people wanted me to do, and it was purple. And it's a really, really nice purple, except for the fact that all of the dice turned up with the logo not correctly printed. So I never felt like I could give these away. I've got 2 sets of these. And by a set, it's a set of 6 is how I was doing it. And I felt like it was too off-center. And the replacements were actually in that order that never arrived. Which I was very sad about. There is only one other person, I believe, who has a purple set. And I think it's either Super Weasel or it's Savior Anarchy. One of them have the purple set. So, but I felt like for me, if I get one where it's spot on, what made it very difficult, and I don't know if you guys have ever noticed this about my channel logo, is my channel logo, whilst it looks it, is not actually round. So my channel logo is really not, even though it looks like it's in a circle, the middle of my logo is not this middle line. The middle of my logo is actually about 4 pixels into this H. So it was hard for people to figure out how to center it. So it's quite funny. The middle of my logo is not the gap in the middle line. It's actually, so the actual specifics is it is 1 pixel into this H is the middle of my logo. It's really funny. But I had a friend design it for me. They offered to design it for free, and I was never going to turn that down. That was 20-Sided Life on Instagram. They did it for me, and I've loved the logo ever since. And then the set that I'm the only one who has some of, the channel colour set. Orange pips with blue dice. So there you go. That logo looks perfect to me. I'd be happy with them. Well, I feel like the dice are something I would like to bring back, because I feel like it's nice to get a little something for various reasons. You know, it's just not always nice to get something. But these were all the colours that we did. And as you can see, the supplier I used for a very long time, I was very happy with. I really liked the dice that they produced. I just had a lot of bad luck on that final transaction, and unfortunately, I never financially recovered. In all transparency, it took me a long time. There was a point where basically it impacted us so badly that basically that's the That's the way to do it. So I've opened there. If those who remember going a bit further back, we did the wheel spins, where whenever we filled the bar at the bottom of the screen, we'd spin a wheel. And I was given, basically, I was about given pretty much any money we earned from the channel went straight back into the prize pots. Because it's my own fault, because I spent all that money on that dice, and we had no outstanding prizes at that time. I pretty much drained all of the money we had. To get a year's worth of dice in one order, because you buy it in bulk, it's cheaper. And because it never turned up, I think it shook a lot of faith in the community. People weren't, it was one of those, like, it was a bit of a rough time in the community, which is expected, because people were hoping for dice and they didn't get dice. We made a big community event out of it. And then basically, because I had no backup set of funds, because originally I was going to list a couple of the sets of dice on the web store as well, for people to purchase, like an exclusive color exclusive to the web store, and because I never really financially bounced back of it, I was basically going hand to mouth on the wheel. If we were getting subs for the wheel, all of that money was going on the prizes, and I never really bounced back. And then we had our Section 21 notice a couple of weeks later, so we had to move, so it all kind of compiled in one place. So it was a bit of bad luck, really. So I'm being now probably overly cautious before we bring back any stuff like merch or dice and things, but it's not out the realms of possibility. We just need to find a supplier I'm very confident in, because I've been burnt before. But there's a few people, I've had a lot of recommendations. I've reached out to a few people about dice. And a few people have been very lucky, have been very nice and got back to me. A few people have got back to me and said that they can't handle those colours, which has been really nice, so yeah. You see, the dice did turn up, just too late. I wish. Yeah. Can you imagine? They are somewhere, I imagine, they either never left the factory, or they are somewhere in the middle of the ocean. Or in a landfill somewhere. So you never go. You never know. You might get lucky going through it. If you ever do dumpster diving, you might be able to find a set of dice. We had so many fun colours planned as well. There we go. There you go. Sorry. Sad story. But there you go. That's the dice, in case you weren't aware of the dice. That's all the colours. So they all live now. And I have great joy when I go and I play Warhammer, or I play a game of Magic the Gathering. I get to crack out all my fancy dice. So, which is very cool. So yeah. Should have just changed the logo to match. Change the. What do you mean by that? Sorry. Change the logo to match. Did I miss something here? On these? Oh, make it slightly authentic. Yeah, I tried for 8. I'm not very good at graphic design. It's probably something I will do at some point. Yeah, slightly put it back, make it central again. I think it's because it was I think the circle is meant to be is a. I always thought the circle swish was a perfect circle, but it turned out it wasn't. So I thought everything on the inside was also a perfect circle. Turns out it wasn't. It's all good fun. I think there was a pink with purple pips. I think so. Yeah. Let me get the. It's still in the Discord. It's probably just buried somewhere in the Discord. And I think it was under community events. Let me find it. Community events. Let me scroll back up and find the dice. Dice. Hobbytime Dice 2023. Yeah, there it is. So, wow, man, this is throwback memory. This is. So the votes were. Let me get them up. So there was a pink dice, and the idea is they had their little 23 in it, so you knew you would get it from 2023. I remember there being riots. I've still got mine. That's true. They're somewhere in the landfill next to the Bitcoin hard drive, yes. Yes, there was a pink dice with white pips. There was a bright blue, so this was more of like a sea foamy blue rather than this blue. It was a much brighter blue. It was more like, yeah, sea foamy, sort of tealy turquoise blue. We had, yeah, black with purple pips. Black with purple pips was a choice. Was one of the ones. And then there was loads of options. I can't remember what one in the end. I think it might have been the black with pips. We put up a lot, to be fair. We put up quite a lot. We did gold metallic dots with a marble black. There was 10. I think the community got to choose from 10. There are so many suggestions. I was always a fan of these. The marbled purple with magenta pips. I was very excited by these. I was like, these would have been great. And then these got a lot of votes. The dark purple with green pips. The dark purple with green pips. And then we had blue with metallic gold pips. Was a request there. Dark Angel fans would be a big fan of Calibite marble green with white pips. I'd want a set of the dark purple with green pips. It'd be so good. This was I remember, I think you suggested this. It was either you or Natman. The Mr. Blobby set. Pink with the yellow dots. I can't remember who suggested it. I can't remember who did suggest that, actually. I'll see if I can find it. It was Rusty. My apology. Rusty suggested these. Pink with yellow spots in honor of Mr. Blobby. Yeah, and then the marbled orange with the reverse of these ones, basically, with the blue pips, the channel colours again. Maybe the one should be a Jar Jar. If I could do it without getting sued, I'd give it a go. If I could do it without getting sued. It would have to look like the most off-brand Jar Jar Binks ever. Yeah. And looking at who won, the winning dice was, looking at who got the most first place votes. Yeah, so in first place it was the black with purple dots, which is, no, that one. That was the first place. Second place went to this one. And then I think third place, looking at the list. Third place was... where are we at? Oh, I think it was those ones. There you go. So yeah. So it would have been awesome to have sorted that and got them out, but yeah, never mind. Lesson learned on my end. Painful lesson, but a lesson learned. Hey, Verity, how are you doing? You did indeed have a nap. Me coming out of the stream room and rummaging and to find a rulebook didn't even wake you up. You were flat out, bless your heart. I hope it was a good nap. We were just chatting about dice because we were talking about the new Games Workshop rules, and then we got onto the conversation of what happened with dice. But did anybody remember what we did do though? Where we made our own dice. Does anyone remember that? We made our own dice using the world's pinkest pink pigment powder. We had to go out making our own dice during one of the subathons. And I can't find the other set of dice. Where is it? We made super pink vibrant dice, which was really fun. I think they go really glowy. They go really, really glowy if you hit them with a UV light. We tried to make our own set, which was cool. And then we also made our own set of dice which went horribly wrong. I have a set of these dice where they're filled with baked beans. And they went horribly wrong to the point where they one of them actually exploded because the beans had loads of moisture in it. And there was a point where basically you could grab I think it was the D20 and squish it and it went it was quite funny. Although we did do a second batch that lasted a lot longer. I don't think they're in here though. No. Bean dice are not in here. They're somewhere. But there you go. And that was my story about what happened to the dice. I hope you enjoyed my story. Yeah. There we go. But yeah. I just realised the time. We have done no painting today. We have done absolutely no painting, which is wild. How have I not done any painting? That's insane. That's wild of me to do no painting. Like I say, what? Where are we at? Where are we at? Do. And I was like, yeah, it's really unusual for me to do no painting on there. But I think, given the fact that it is 9:30 and I've not had any food, 20 to 10, I think we will probably call stream there. And go on a little raid and spread a wee bit of lovey love. Let's go and see, who shall we go and say hello to? Let's have a nosy here. That's true, we were talking about a lot of normal stuff. I thought I would get some done, to be fair. Verity, it's there. Wait, hold on. Can I make it big? Do I have it? Oh, I thought I had it. I don't have it. Only Corvus has it so far. Well, cool. Enjoy your dine. I hope they'll get some good dines. That's such a cool cupcake, Verity. I love it. I love it. Where shall we go? Where should we go? Trying to figure out where we're going to go say hello to. Shall we? Dun, 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 dun. Where are we at? As good as idea, so especially. Oh, that's fair. That's fair. I've currently got the 5K to test it. That's fair. Well, this is where we got to on Wednesday, in case anyone didn't see it. So Gelgust is almost there. On Sunday we will finish Gelgust Bust. I think we are very close. I need to do a bit of work on the base, add some tufts, add a little bit more to the water effect. And I think the wings, we're not far off. Oh, it's so cute. Thank you for spending the beanies. It's so cute. I love it. The little Cult in the Land cupcake. Ah! But we are almost there with Gelgust, I think, which is going to be really fun. So we'll get the base finished off, which will be the next part. With this guy, we'll be finished on Sunday. I will make him finished. But for now, let us go and spread a little bit of love. Let us go and raid over to somebody we haven't said hello to in a little while, actually. Let's go and raid over to the lovely Adapters Paints. We haven't said hello to them in a little while. And they are currently working on an absolutely stunning bust, which looks fantastic. Those look really, really nice. They're doing a gorgeous non-metallic metal armor on it. And that looks fantastic. So let us go and raid over to them. So let's go and spread some love. But thank you so much for everyone who's been in today. We got a little bit of chaos from Milkshake earlier, which was really good. And thank you so much for all the new followers. I hope you're all doing well. But yeah, thank you so much. And thank you, Verity, for those biddies also. But yeah, we are back on Sunday as per normal. Although my schedule doesn't say it because I forgot to post it, so my bad. bad. I'll get better at it, I promise. But yeah, we're back on Sunday, and then then we're into next week, bank holiday weekend. Ooh. But folks, thank you so much for being in. It's been an absolute delight. And as always, please remember to stay safe, stay positive, and above all, be an ambassador for your hobby. I hope you enjoyed chatting all about the new releases. I certainly enjoyed chatting with you all about it. And thank you so much to everybody. But yeah, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I'll see you all on Sunday. Bye, bye. Thank you everyone for watching. You're all awesome. You're all amazing. Let's go raiding. I'm getting out of breath. Good night, everybody.